The room is quiet. You've been called to a secure briefing chamber deep inside FBI headquarters, far below the bustle of Washington, in a place where the fluorescent lights hum like secrets trying to speak. Before we begin, let's circle back to a name that once echoed through the halls of this building like a ghost: the X-Files. Maybe you only know the stories, whispers traded between field offices, or rumors told over late night stakeouts. A punchline, a punchline to some, a warning to others. A division that handled strange cases. Cases the Bureau couldn't classify, cases they couldn't explain, cases they didn't want to acknowledge. And of course, the two agents who defined it. Special Agent Fox Spooky Mulder, brilliant, driven, haunted, and Special Agent Dana Scully, skeptical, rational, and unbreakable. You sort of know what happened, or at least the official version. The X-Files were opened, shut down, reopened, shut down again. Dragged through conspiracy, tragedy, cover-ups, and the kind of truths that make people disappear. Then, in 2019, the department was finally, officially shuttered. Files sealed, equipment boxed up, equipment, our office lights turned off. Mulder and Scully vanished from the Bureau's active roster. The rest is buried under enough classification stamps to blot out the sun. Which brings us to you in 2026. You've been summoned here quietly, discreetly, by a senior official who outranks your SACs and every name in your home office chain of command. Assistant Director Miriam Cortez, Counter Anomalous Operations Division, a department that until today you didn't know existed. She meets your eyes with a gaze that's sharp, tired, and burdened with too much knowledge. She tells you this: the Bureau needs you, but more importantly, whether you realize it or not, you need to be here. You were chosen not for your seniority, but your experiences. Experiences your reports never fully described. Events your supervisors waved off. Things that you saw or felt or couldn't explain. You may have encountered something before you joined the FBI, something you've never spoken aloud, a figure in the woods, a light in the sky, a voice that wasn't a voice at all. You may have crossed paths with the unexplainable during your service, a victim who didn't stay dead, a suspect who didn't cast a shadow, a case where the evidence changed when no one was looking. Nothing concrete, nothing provable, but unmistakable all the same. And that is why you're here. Assistant Director Cortez continues. In 2019, the X-Files were closed. But closing a door doesn't stop what's on the other side of it. It only stops us from seeing it. She slides a single folder across the table, unmarked, not logged, not supposed to exist. Inside is one page, one sentence. The X-Files task force is to be reactivated, effective immediately. But this isn't the old division. There will be no office in the basement, no official designation, no paper trail. Cortez explains. This task force operates strictly off the books. You report only to me, not your SAC, not your home office, not anyone outside this room. Whatever you learn, whatever you see, it stays with this team. Your job is simple on paper, impossible in practice. Investigate the unexplained, document the impossible, protect the public without the public ever knowing, and if necessary, confront the things that slipped through the cracks when the original X-Files fell silent. You are the new line of defense between the known and the unknown, the inheritors of a legacy no one wanted and few believed. Mulder and Scully are somewhere out there, ghosts in their own right, their work unfinished, their truth incomplete. Now it's your turn to walk the line they walked, to pry open the sealed doors, to follow the shadows into the places even the Bureau fears to tread. The X-Files are being reopened, quietly, carefully, secretly. And the things waiting for you in the dark, they've had 7 years without anyone watching them. The forest is still, except for the soft crackle of a radio and the steady crunch of tires rolling over damp pine needles. An aging park ranger SUV crawls along a narrow service road, its headlights cutting weak, hazy cones through the early morning fog. The vehicle slows to a stop. The engine ticks softly as it cools. A door opens, spilling a sliver of warm interior light onto the forest floor before swinging shut again. The illumination vanishes, swallowed instantly by the oppressive dark. A lone figure steps forward, a female park ranger, mid-30s with auburn hair, her boots sinking into the soft earth, sweeping a flashlight across the trees. The beam dances between trunks, branches, and shadows. Too many shadows. The radio on the ranger's shoulder hisses with static, then falls silent. A low hum drifts through the trees. At first, it sounds distant, like far-off machinery. Then it shifts, splintering into a chorus of faint, insect-like clicks. A whispering undertone ripples beneath it. Words that don't quite form words. The figure freezes, head slowly turning toward the source of the sound. Branches rustle. Something moves between the trees. Something big. The flashlight beam snaps towards the noise, just catching the hint of a shape sliding between the trunks. The ranger stiffens, breath sharp and quick. The hum grows louder. A split second later, something rushes the tree line, a blur of mass and motion. The ranger stumbles backwards, sprints towards the SUV, fumbling with the door. It opens, slams shut, locks. Panicked breathing fogs the inside of the windshield. The key turns. The engine doesn't start. Again, nothing but the rising hum, vibrating now, rattling through the frame of the SUV. A thunderous impact slams into the side of the vehicle, flipping it onto its roof with a metallic scream. Glass bursts. Loose gear scatters across the ceiling, now the floor. Silence. The ranger hangs upside down, dazed, breathing in short, ragged gasps. The hum fades into the background like something withdrawing, waiting. A moment passes. Then a clawed, elongated hand punches through the shattered windshields, scattering glass like ice. A distorted silhouette looms behind the opening, the flashlight laying on its side, casting broken, flickering light over its inhuman outline. A final scream as the Ranger is pulled violently through the shattered windshield and back into the darkness as the flashlight dies. The door opens. Assistant Director Miriam Cortez steps in without ceremony, a stack of neatly organized files under one arm. Dark suit, hair pulled back, expression set in professional neutrality. She doesn't sit. She places the files on the table, opens one, and begins speaking immediately. Good morning, agents. Thank you for your early arrival this morning. It's been some time since we first met, but allow me to reintroduce you to one another. Agent Sam Stutterswell, this is Agent Eric Seitz. Eric Seitz, Sam Stutterswell. The two of you will be working this case alone, together. It's a matter of much urgency. This will be your first assignment under the Counter-Anomalous Operations Division, codename X-Files. As you know, you were selected for this task force because you demonstrated competence, discipline, and the ability to maintain discretion. For this case, you'll need all three. She taps a remote. The monitor behind her displays an overturned park ranger SUV on a forest road. And you should see a picture there on your screen.
I do.
2 mornings ago, at 0430 hours in Briar Ridge, West Virginia, Crescent Falls National Forest Dispatch received a distress signal from a Ranger Patrol vehicle. No radio contact followed. Suspect's name is Erica Souter, age 34. Responders located the vehicle overturned approximately a quarter mile off its assigned patrol route. No tire impressions consistent with swerving or braking. No evidence of collision with another vehicle. The ranger assigned to the vehicle is unaccounted for. The scene contains footprints, drag marks, and unidentified impressions that do not match regional wildlife. A swatch of the ranger's uniform was recovered in the woods near the scene. Forensic analysis is ongoing. The incident occurred roughly 20 hours after a local 17-year-old male was reported missing in the same sector. Initial search teams believed he was a lost hiker. The subject's name is Jacob Riley. After the ranger's disappearance, we no longer consider that assessment reliable. Cortez closes the case file with quiet precision. The Park Service requested federal involvement immediately. That level of urgency is atypical. Someone on the ground believes this situation exceeds their jurisdiction or their ability to explain. She glances across the table, making brief, direct eye contact with the two of you. Here are your objectives. Locate any surviving individuals, family members, co-workers, or witnesses associated with either incident. Determine the nature of the threat, whether animal, human, or unknown. Prevent public exposure until this division makes a formal classification. Assess whether the incident qualifies as an X-Files anomaly. You are to approach this case with objectivity and operational discipline. Do not speculate. Do not improvise. Follow the evidence. A brief pause. No softness, only emphasis. If this turns out to be routine, you'll close it quickly. If it isn't, you'll be the first to know, and you will conduct yourselves accordingly. She gathers her files and heads towards the door. Reports transport in the parking garage in 15 minutes. I've arranged a meeting with the local sheriff, Calvin Mercer. Wheels up at 0800. And then she takes her leave. Agent Seitz is still sitting there, arms crossed, legs crossed, looking at the door that she just walked out of. And he says, well, what is it the old saying is about being thrown from the frying pan right into the fire?
I think that's the old saying. I think you got it. Nailed it right on the head.
Well, it looks like we've got maybe about half an hour before we have to head down. We met briefly, but didn't really have a good chance to talk. She introduced us again, Eric Seitz. I'm out of the New Orleans office.
Uh, Sam, I'm out of Asheville. He puts his hand out.
Eric is probably in his late 40s, um, somewhat against regulation, has a little bit of a beard, but very well kept. Good looking guy. A little bit of salt and pepper to the beard and to the temples of his hair.
How long have you been with the Bureau?
Hmm. Well, that's an interesting question. I started back in the mid to late 90s, probably about 97, 98, and did my field training in Las Vegas. And without really going into too much detail, shit really hit the fan pretty quickly with my FTO there. Um, Good guy, gruff, but somebody that I came to call more than a mentor. He became a companion after a couple of years. I worked underneath him as my FTO for about a year, and then transferred into the Las Vegas department shortly after because his um, former partner was killed in the line of duty, and we actually were working on that particular case when I came on as a trainee, and that's where everything kind of took off for the two of us. It wasn't very long after that I got shot. Ended up in the hospital for a while. Came back and then went into full duty. And again, there's not a lot that I can say, but I can at least let you know that through our continued investigations, we had the opportunity to run across this Agent Mulder. in the X-Files division. This probably would have been about 98, 99, right when he was in the thick of things. And so were we. Uh, my partner, Jonathan Kaufman, history has a tendency to kind of repeat itself, and I found myself investigating my own partner's death. Things didn't go well, and I was taken off of my duties in Vegas because they really didn't want me looking into his death. I was a bit disheartened by my treatment, especially for the years that I had put in with Agent Kaufman, and I left the FBI in '02 and worked in the private sector for several years and ended up coming back in 2015 and have been working some murder cases down in New Orleans. Um, my specialty now is profiling. So I've been back in the Bureau for about 10 years at this point.
Oh,
But Kaufman and his untimely demise are completely off limits to me now. That was the conditions of my return. How about you? How long have you been a part of the Bureau?
well, I started doing some military service, not quite exactly the same time you were talking about 97, but there around. Did a general stint of time and then went to college. And after that, started things in the Bureau. So I guess I probably served about as much time as you have in the Bureau, though uninterrupted.
Hmm.
Um, so I have a brief spell where I had to just have some time to myself because I also lost a partner and the line of duty.
Oh, really?
So yeah,
You know what happened to him?
yeah. I was there. He was very mundanely shot in front of me.
Oh,
But
well, I'm
you know,
sorry.
I'm sorry for your loss too. It's it's not an easy thing. You get close to people, uh, or you don't. If you get used to that that loss. So if you have to keep me at arm's length, that's understood. If I seem like I'm doing the same, it's nothing personal. It's just you know just how it is, I guess. After a point,
Well, I may not look it now, but I'm, believe it or not, even despite all the stuff that I've been through, the guys down at the New Orleans office call me Smiley. Uh, I tend to try to look on the bright side of things most of the time. So, but part of the job, being a profiler, is I have to look on the dark side too often. So I guess I kind of counter that with a Cheshire smile.
it sounds like you're faring okay. Then I guess that means you're not bothered by guns, right?
No, not bothered by them. I've unfortunately had to use them on multiple occasions in the line of duty. Not so much in my time down in the New Orleans office, because I spend most of my time in the office now. But when I was out in the field a little bit more, like where we're going, unfortunately, it was all part of the job. I may not be the best shot, but I know how to use it.
Gotcha. He Sam reaches over towards the files that were left with the pictures and everything by Cortez. He takes out the one of the footprint and he says, "Well, something that I might suggest that we bring with us. Don't know if we're hunting animal or peculiarity, but we might want to have and he just flashes the picture at Smiley, a shotgun maybe.
That's all right with the powers that be. I would assume that looking at the footprint there, whatever that is, I certainly don't recognize it, but I don't have a whole lot of experience with wildlife.
He turns it back around. It's been hunting a time or two. Most of my offices have been around the Blue Ridge, so what little bit of getting to know people that has happened, it's usually happened in the deer stand. So
All
he
right,
puts
well, I suppose we better head on down. It's getting to be about that time.
yeah,
So you guys
and
load up into a vehicle that they have prepared for you. It's typical FBI sedan. Um, Sight says, "Are you driving or am I?"
I'm happy either way, to be honest with you, man.
All right. Looks like they've got everything set up in the GPS for us, so I guess I'll just hit click route. Doop.
Just out
Um,
of curiosity, are we
yeah.
able to requisition that shotgun?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that
Okay,
should be fine.
double check.
Is that in your inventory?
No, it's not in the
Okay.
inventory.
All right. So we'll need to do that real quick. Let me get that pulled up.
Figure that's a particular oddity for this adventure or mission based off of the available parameters.
Let's see. Would that be a pump action or double barrel?
That is a good question. Um, I don't know what the government would issue. Would they be more? I would assume that they'd be more pump action, probably, but I'm not sure.
It's actually double barrel.
Double barrel.
Hmm.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
All right. That should be in your inventory now.
awesome.
All right. All right. So it takes a couple hours to head down into Crescent Falls. And once you reach the small town, the road into Crescent Falls narrows as the terrain rises, winding through dense pines that crowd the shoulders like sentries. Mist waves through the trees in long, trailing ribbons, and the deep green canopy blocks much of the mid-morning light, casting the highway in a permanent half dusk. Every so often, the forest breaks just enough for you to see the land dip into steep ravines or flatten into rolling fields dotted with rust-red barns and pale trailers. A place that feels aged, lived in, quiet, not the sort of town that anyone notices unless they're lost, running from something, or deliberately trying to disappear. A wooden sign appears at a bend in the road. Welcome to Crescent Falls, population 2272. Nature's retreat, West Virginia's pride. The phrase feels optimistic, although a little outdated. Beneath the lettering, someone has scratched a long gouge through the paint. Weathering makes it look almost like claws. The main road threads into town, simple, unhurried. A few two-story brick buildings, a gas station, a diner with a crooked open sign flickering uncertainly in the window, a hardware store, a pharmacy, nothing remarkable, and yet the place feels tense. Quiet in a way small towns usually aren't. Locals from porches and storefronts uh, turn as your vehicle passes by. Conversations pause, glances linger, some curious, some wary, some grim. It's a look that people give when they know something is wrong, but they don't want to be the ones to say it. Up ahead, the road widens slightly, and a modest municipal complex comes into view, a squat cluster of buildings framed by tall pines. At the center of the cluster sits the Briar Ridge County Sheriff's Office. The building is functional, not impressive, a two-story brick structure from the late 1970s. Its brown and tan facade faded from decades of harsh winters. A metal flagpole leans slightly in the front yard, the American and West Virginia flags stirring weakly in the wind. A pair of sheriff's cruisers, older models but well maintained, are parked in diagonal spaces out front. One has mud splattered across the tires and wheel wells, a clear sign it's been out in the woods recently. A wooden plaque beside the glass door reads Briar Ridge County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff C. Mercer. The glass is clean, but the lobby beyond looks dim, lit by a handful of fluorescent fixtures buzzing faintly. As you approach, the automatic door doesn't automatically open. It shutters, then slides halfway before sticking. A deputy inside pushes it the rest of the way with a grunt of familiarity. As you all step inside, the air carries a mix of old coffee, paper, and pine-scented cleaner. Front lobby is small, with two rows of molded plastic chairs and one wall lined with outdated crime prevention posters. A bulletin board covered in flyers, missing pets, 4-H events, church picnics leans slightly to one side. Behind a reinforced glass window, a civilian clerk looks up as you enter with the expression of someone who has dealt with too many interruptions in too few days. A security door buzzes open and a uniformed deputy steps through, clipboard tucked under one arm. You're the FBI? He doesn't sound
That's
thrilled, but he
that's
also
us.
doesn't sound surprised either. I guess you'll want to talk to the sheriff, and then motions for you to follow him through the security door. He leads you down a short hallway lined with framed photographs. Uh, Deer heads, volunteer firemen, local high school football teams, with the hum of fluorescent lights growing louder with each step.
Sam makes a compliment on the deer head to the cop.
Yeah, Sheriff bagged that one about 15 years ago. He won't stop talking about it.
I have to pay him compliments then. Direct.
The deputy stops at a door, knocks once, and it's marked simply Sheriff. A gravelly voice calls, Bring him in. Sheriff Calvin Cal Mercer rises from behind his desk as the team enters. He's a broad, sturdy man in his early 50s with a weathered face, gray-brown mustache, and the kind of eyes that carry years of late-night calls and bad memories. His uniform is neat but not crisp, more lived in than ceremonial. The office behind him is cluttered with stacked case files, maps of the forest, and a whiteboard tracking the search efforts. Mercer gives you a once over, evaluating, calculating, deciding how much respect or resistance to offer. Welcome to Briar Ridge County. Heard you were coming. and he gestures towards some chairs across from his desk. So I don't know how much you know, but here's what we've got. Got a missing kid and a missing park ranger on our hands. And now Washington's knocking at my door. So let's get something straight from the start. I'll cooperate, but I want my people safe. And I want answers if you find something that I should know. And God help us all if this turns into another Waco, Ruby Ridge, or whatever it is you folks do these days.
And probably kind of raises his eyebrows at the Waco Ruby Ridge reference, just based off his background. Um, um, that sounds fair. We want y'all safe too. And we want answers as well. So thank you for being willing to work together with us.
All right, well, let's get down to brass tacks. And I understand that the Ranger Service is what called you here. What all can I tell you, and what can you tell me?
Well, I suppose first question from our side is when you investigated the scene, like what time frame did you spend out there? What did you experience while y'all were on the scene? As far as we know, you investigated it. Are you the ones who actually did the investigation, or did somebody come in other than y'all to perform it?
Well, we have a search party out right now looking for the Ranger. Several of my men are leading the search party. And then we've got a team of folks that are familiar with the woods, mostly hunters. That are out searching the area. We came upon the accident. We got a call in from the ranger's office. Um, there's a lady that I've been doing a lot of work with over the years since we're pretty much a rural area. Her name's Elna Brook. She's the chief ranger out there, been in that position for the better part of a decade. Good gal. Um, the ranger in question that we are now on the lookout for, in addition to the boy, a little bit younger than uh, the chief. She's Eric Souter, age 34. I've known her. She a town local. Always out in the woods when she was younger. Joined up when she was about 29. I think she had a degree in botany or something like that. But she's been with them, for probably about 5, 6 years at this point. She was out there investigating the disappearance of the kid, 17-year-old boy, um, Jacob Riley, local kid, usually doesn't get into too much trouble. Um, she was out late at night searching around. We got a call in from from her vehicle, or actually the chief ranger got a call in from her vehicle stating that she was out looking for the boy. Said that she was going to step out and go on foot. And after she didn't report back in, Elna went out looking for her and found her vehicle overturned. Uh, Front of the vehicle was smashed in, blood on the windshield, and looks like she was drug off into the woods from the best that we could tell.
Do you know about how much time had passed between when she had originally called saying she was going to step out and when Elna would have made it onto the scene?
I would say it was probably about an hour and a half to 2 hours. Um, I imagine that Elna probably thought, well, she's out in the woods, she's looking around. They weren't in direct contact with each other. They have, like we do, like a CB radio where they can communicate to one another. But if she didn't find anything, I assume she wasn't thinking there was going to be any communication. But after an hour or so, she kind of got a little concerned about it and then attempted to contact her through the radio. Didn't get a response. Attempted to call out to the vehicle itself. Still no response. Drove out there in the area that she said she was going to be looking, and then found the overturned vehicle. Then called us.
Your radios, are they on in the car or are they on person? Do you know, for the ranger staff?
As both.
Oh,
Hmm.
have we recovered the other radio at this point? I know that there was at least some strip of cloth that from the uniform that was recovered, but that's all I've heard of so far.
No, we haven't recovered her radio. Yeah, and I suppose you saw the crime scene photo that we took of the swatch of fabric, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that so far is all that we found, and that was located just inside the tree line, where those drag marks that we saw were. Uh, so we know that she was likely taken that way.
Okay. All right. Might ask you about the frequency you'll use on that radio at some point, just so we can make sure as we're going out and about that we're able to keep in contact with you and maybe hear your search as it's going.
Yeah, that's
Um,
fine. We'll certainly do that so we can keep in contact if we have to separate. But I'd happily take you out there and let you take a look at it. We've already towed the vehicle, so unfortunately, there's really not a lot to look at there, but I can at least show you the site where, she was drug. Had a little bit of rain last night, so a lot of that's probably already washed away. But
the he there was a bulletin board that you had described behind him showing the search perimeter that has been used so far for both her and the boy, right?
yeah,
Okay. Um, do you mind if I take a look at your map with the
yeah,
search
no
perimeter?
problem. And he's put like a pin in the spot where the accident had occurred. And then there's another pin showing where it is believed that the boy would have entered the forest, which is fairly close to his, I mean, close-ish to his residence. I mean, there's basically one road that kind of leads in from where Jacob lives. So they're assuming that he probably would have taken that road to go in. He doesn't have a driver's license, so he probably would have been on a bike. They discovered the bike close to where that pin was.
Okay. Um, when Cortez had talked to us, did she tell us the time frame between when Jacob went missing and the ranger went missing? I feel
Yeah.
like she did, and I just didn't write it in
Mhm.
my notes proper.
It had been within about 48 hours. And so
48
now
hours,
we're about 72 hours out.
hours out. Okay. All right. So the 2 point. And
And they've got a radius of about 2 miles around each of those. So, I mean, the overall circumference probably is about a 3 mile radius that they're working right now.
yeah, just for the sake of thoroughness, the fair to say that you have not, well, have you seen anything quite like what happened to that car? Just in the middle of the woods with no other vehicles around.
Well, I can't explain what would have overturned that vehicle because it does not have evidence that it was another vehicle that would have run into it. But whatever it was big. Um, it's got a huge, and he pulls out some pictures and kind of shows you some photos of the vehicle itself. You've got the crime scene photo that they took. Um, but the side of the vehicle has been caved in, and uh, it doesn't show any signs of like metal on metal. So whatever it was that hit the side of that vehicle really didn't leave any marks. There's no fur either. So, he is unable to explain really what that could have been. He said if it was a bear, it's the biggest bear I would have ever seen. But even a bear is not going to be strong enough to tip a vehicle like that.
Right, right. I don't suppose that y'all have measurements for the indentation, its general span, as well as how far in it went.
Well, we can tell you, roughly about how big the dent is. It's roughly about 53 inches long and about 38 inches high.
Okay. All right. Sites, you have any additional questions that come to your mind right offhand?
Well, I want to ask about the kid. You've got two missing. You've got the ranger, but she was out there looking for a missing kid. So, are we to assume that both of these incidents are related in some way? The sheriff says, I mean, honestly, I can't imagine that they necessarily would be. I would imagine that the kid probably is either a runaway. I know there's some trouble at home. His dad's a little, I don't know, gruff, should we say. Um, Mom's pretty put upon by the dad. It's possible that he was a runaway, or maybe he just went out to the woods and either got lost or slipped. But with now with this ranger missing, I suppose it causes one to wonder. But my initial impression, no, I don't necessarily think they're related.
Gotcha. That was a good question. Well, I think I'm good to head out. On the way out the door, he will have two things that he does ask about, kind of in passing, or comments on, asks about in passing. Um, Assuming there's nothing else that the sheriff wants to bring up independently and talk over before they leave.
Seitz follows up with another question. He said, I have to wonder, with the runaway kid and your missing ranger, has anybody reported anything else, any other missing persons or anything strange? Uh, we've we've got that footprint. Has anyone reported, sightings of any particular kind of animal or anything? Well, there's been mentions of a cocaine bear out in the woods, but people love to talk. There's that story that came out of God, I can't remember where it was, but they made a movie out of the damn thing with the cocaine bear, something that happened back in the 80s,
Yeah.
where somebody threw some cocaine out of an airplane and the bear got a hold of it and went nuts. That's bullshit as far as I'm concerned. Um, Somebody reported the sighting of a large black panther out in the woods, if you can believe that. But I mean, we've had the usual reports. People get suspicious, they see something out in the woods, lights in the trees, strange vibrations, disorientation. But, you know, we don't need headlines like that around here, so we really haven't really talked about it. We take them in, and occasionally, if it warrants it, like, the Black Panther or what have you that's out in the woods, we'll go out and take a look, but nothing's ever come of it. So, um, as he is talking about that, uh, one of the deputies, the guy that brought you guys in, barges into the office. Sorry to interrupt, Sheriff, but we just got a call from one of the search parties. They found the Ranger deep in the Pine Bluff Hills, about 2 miles from the site of the wreck. They're saying it's pretty bad, sir. God damn it. Well, get your galoshes on, agents. Looks like we're going hiking.
Indeed. So, yeah, he goes ahead and Sam's ready to kind of hustle up um, as soon as, you know, he recognizes that the ranger's been found. This is prime time to go and see what's going on. Um, as they're all moving very rapidly out of the room, I can actually belay one of the questions. I was going to ask how long the actually no, I'll still I am passing ask a question about how long the radios actually stay charged, um, just for curiosity's sake. But as we're going through the hallway that has the deer head, he says, "By the way, I heard that you bagged this one, and that is an incredible story." And I don't have to actually have the story as the player. You think it's part of the game.
uh, and he says it is quite a story, and I like telling it, but we'll probably save that for another day.
So, but
Suppose it
yeah.
depends on how long you're here.
Mhm.
And he heads out to his SUV.
Okay. And we'll go to our car and follow. Um, so, one thing I'm assuming we have cell phones.
Yep.
Um, do we have reception?
Right now you do.
Okay. Might do a quick call to the group that would have access to the car while we're en route to ask
Mhm.
them to do a measurement that actually measures the indentation itself, like the interior of it to the exterior of it.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
The depth of it.
right. Um, Mainly with the idea of doing a little bit of math to try to get an idea of what kind of mass and what kind of speed might be involved in something being able to produce that effect on a car.
Okay.
Uh, so,
So you make the call, and they're able to kind of let you know that the impact hit on the driver's side, directly in between the driver's side door and the rear door. And the force of the impact actually caused both of the doors to kind of bow out a bit from the hinges. And the measurement there is roughly about 3.5 inches. Um, so what I would probably do is, let's see here. I would say probably make just actually a mechanics roll.
Um, and do you know if the stat number in there includes the bonus from the Jack of all trades?
It sure does. That's a little
Okay.
half fill.
Ah, neat. So
hmm
that's what that means. Cool,
Yep.
cool, cool. Um, to execute the roll, I guess I can
Just
go down to the bottom right and press.
actually you go right over top of mechanics, the word mechanics, and then
Uh-huh.
you click on that word. It'll pull up a box for you, and then you'll click normal.
Okay. Oh, neat. That's how you can do advantage and disadvantage.
hmm
Okay. So no
All right, so
dice
we got a
on that.
7.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, without actually probably seeing it in person, it's kind of difficult for you to tell. Best you can tell, whatever it was big.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Um,
But it wasn't car sized, if that makes sense, you know.
yeah.
So it certainly wasn't an impact from a car from the look of it, especially the placement with the height of where it hit. Because it looked like it probably hit like if the windshield is here, it probably hit just like right below, or not the windshield, but the
Car window.
yeah, the car window, like right below that, right at the metal where the metal meets glass.
Okay. Cool. Awesome. I think that's all that I do as far as like the things that are pertinent to trying to solve the case between here and our park ranger.
Okay. All right. Well, you guys hop into the vehicle, and yeah, I mean you've already done that, and on the trip out there, been on the phone with the garage, and you've been following Sheriff Mercer in his mud-dusted SUV, and you're crawling up a narrow service road that twists through the denser northern reaches of Crescent Falls State Forest. The sun is obscured by clouds above the ridge, leaving the pines in a blue-gray pallor. Insects drone, but the sound feels strangely distant, muffled, as though the forest itself is holding its breath. A mile in, Mercer slows, rolling down his window. Road ends up ahead. Search party flagged the approach. From here, it's on foot. He parks beside two other Briar Ridge patrol vehicles, steps out, adjusting his duty belt with a tired grunt. The sheriff's gruff composure is a bit strained, and he keeps glancing at the tree line as though expecting something to be staring back. Pine Bluff Hills, he says, jerking his chin towards the slope ahead. 2 miles north of Ranger Souter's crash. Odd place to find her. If she walked here, she was in bad shape. If she was brought here, and he lets the implication hang. The trail is narrow and uneven, leading upward through old pines that rise like pillars into the fading light. A cold wind drags through the branches, sending down a whispering hiss that seems to follow you as you climb. After about 10 minutes of hiking, Mercer raises a hand. Up ahead, the forest opens into a shallow glade. Moon-white boulders scattered like bones beneath the towering trees. Yellow tape circles the area in a shaky parameter, flickering at its corners as if the wind can't decide which way to push it. Erica Souter's body lies at the center of the glade. Sheriff Mercer removes his hat and lowers his voice. She was a good ranger, 34 years old. Started volunteering with the Parks Department right out of college. Knew this forest like the back of her own hand. Um, I would make an investigation check.
Okay.
17 for you, 24 agent sights. So, first glance, the corpse has been raked apart, not torn in the chaotic manner of an animal attack, but sliced by disturbing precision. Long, clean lacerations dissect the torso and limbs at angles that seem anatomical, almost intentional. Clothing shreds hang like ribbons, fused in places with blood that is darkened to a rust black sheen. Her expression is frozen in overwhelming terror. The eyes are open, wide, but glazed, and the jaw is rigid, as though she died mid-scream. There's very little blood on the forest floor. And as you guys are standing there, um, the sheriff's radio, there's a couple of other deputies kind of in the area, kind of just manning the perimeter. And they've got their radios on as well. And you hear this radio interference. They begin to crackle with this like sudden burst of static. It's not long, it's not really loud, but it's just like and it kind of comes in pulses and they're evenly spaced, almost rhythmic, almost kind of like a warped EKG.
Hmm. That to me as a player obviously stands out as something of merit.
And one of the Mercer says, "What the hell is that? You guys got your things on too loud?" One of the deputies shouts back, "It's been doing that since we got here, sir. No idea what it is. We chalked it up to bad reception."
Hmm. Did we notice that at all as we were approaching? Like, did it start at a certain point? Or is it just now that we've come directly into this clearing?
Pretty much since you guys have just gotten into the clearing.
Okay. All right. And her body, you said it's dissected. Is it that it's like parts have been actually completely severed off, dissected, or just opened up like a frog dissected?
Opened up, well, not necessarily like a frog, but I mean she's been splayed.
Okay, I gotcha. She's not in pieces.
No.
So,
Mm-mm.
okay. Pointing at the blood or the lack of blood and talking to sites, says, do you think that the lack of blood suggests that she did not die right here?
I mean, that's definitely possible. I mean, we know, I mean, she's 2 miles in at this point, so we know that she's been brought here. But if this was an animal attack, why would an animal drag a body this far away from, the point of impact? If they're going to feast on her, which it doesn't look, I mean, looking at the anatomy, at the entrails, at everything that we're looking at right here, it doesn't look like she's been eaten. It just looks like she's been ripped apart.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's here that's supposed to be here.
I'm going to do a perception check
Hmm.
of the general area around
Yeah.
to see if maybe
Hmm.
there's a half track or something of that nature, either tracks from her or tracks from like the footprint that we've seen before.
Yeah. And actually, you did with your investigation check. I'm going to go ahead and give you that.
Okay.
Um, Off along kind of the tree line, you discover uh, a couple of footprints that are very similar to what you saw in that photograph. But these are a little bit more clear because they seem to be fresh. Um, there are three long toes ending in kind of sharp depressions. The heel is elongated, giving it what's called like a digitigrade stance. So, like the pressure is on the toes and the heel. Um, Whatever this was, you would have to assume is taller uh, than a, a human, but is also extraordinarily light.
Hmm. I Sam calls sights over and kind of points it out to him, and then without calling all the other people in the clearing over, he does bring the sheriff over.
Hmm.
It's like, so I want to point this out to you, but I'm wanting to try to keep this between us for the moment for the purpose of making sure that people don't come over and begin interrupting a possible trail with their own tracks. You're a hunter. I've been out and about a little bit. Can you tell anything about this print from looking at it, like how long it's been here? Perhaps the direction that whatever made it was moving in. Anything that I can't think of.
Well,
you
it
know,
looks to me obviously that this thing was moving away from where the body uh, was found. Um, this is a much better impression than the one that we took a photograph of. So whatever was up there, it had been a couple hours at least, probably, uh, since we found that. Now this one here, it rained this morning before you guys got here. And it looks like this has deteriorated enough to where it was affected by the rain. And it stopped raining about, I don't know, 6:30 this morning. So it would have been prior to that.
okay. What's the time now? Kind of just a ballpark time.
Yes, you're probably about close to 11 o'clock.
11 o'clock. Okay. We're talking about something that's at least 5 hours old. All right.
So that being the case, I mean, if this was left here this morning or overnight, whatever this thing was either brought her here this morning or it came back. But that's not typical of any wildlife around here. Number one, to bring a body this far into the woods from the location doesn't make sense. But I can't tell you what this footprint is. I've never seen anything like it.
Fair enough.
I mean, looking at the front of it, I mean, it's got what, three toes?
Hmm.
If I didn't know any better, that old wives' tale that people have been passing around about the Black Panther could potentially make sense on something like this, but it's too long. And whatever this impression is here on the back looks like a heel print, but there's nothing in between. It looks like a high arch to the foot. And it's bipedal.
Hmm.
Um, so it doesn't appear to be walking on 4 feet. And that's like nothing in these woods that I could think of.
Uh-huh. Just from what I had seen on that board earlier in
Mhm.
his um, office, and kind of getting a general idea of the area. Who knows? Maybe even I have a map on me. I don't know. Um, is there any chance of intersection between the places where people have been looking for that child and the trajectory that this footprint might have led off towards? Um,
Well, it's really moving kind of perpendicular to both. Um,
okay.
I mean, she was found over towards the east, or well, her vehicle was found over towards the east. The kid's bike was over west. Footprints are heading north,
And she's kind of in the middle now, might as well just say.
pretty much.
Okay. So,
And
okay.
actually, truthfully, closer to where the boy went missing.
Okay. So he's kind of northwest, then is where the bike was. Northwest. Okay. All right. Interesting. Um, and just to give the like insight into what I'm thinking as a player, what I was trying to figure out is if there was going to be a point of intersection where the people doing the search would actually line up with the general path that it was taking, in case they might have ran across something that they haven't reported yet, but gives some insight that this thing has gotten that far from where we are, in the last few hours. Um, but they're moving, their search is basically away from where the bike was originally, far enough out that that intersection probably wouldn't happen, is what it sounds like.
I mean, it's possible.
Okay.
While
Yeah.
you have been, looking at these footprints, Sights has been kind of looking around the area, kind of in between here and the body. And he calls both you and the sheriff over. Agent Stutters, well, you might want to take a look at this. It looks like there are some claw marks on a fallen log about 15 feet from the body. Deep gouges that rake through the bark and into the wood beneath. And the spacing suggests 6 long digits ending in hooked tips. And branching out from this indentation are like scorches that kind of resemble almost neural dendrites. Do you know what that is?
Not off the top of my head.
So if you kind of think of like nerve, like the interior of your body has got these nerve endings and whatnot. So it's like this kind of like branching kind of thing that kind of sends the nerve impulses out. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So almost like veins, right? But that branches out almost like a tree itself, right? That is kind of scorched into the bark around this claw mark. Um, but it doesn't look like it necessarily spread. It means that the heat source itself was highly targeted.
Hmm. Well, that's interesting. And that was a little bit further away from the body.
Yeah, about 15 feet away.
I wonder why the body has made footprints in some areas where it was obvious that it was, but doesn't appear as if it made footprints in another area.
And the sheriff says that very well could be, an issue with the rain. We're here in the tree line, so this section was covered by the canopy of the trees. Out near the body, it's wet, soggy. That doesn't surprise me. If it was near the body, that stuff probably was washed away in the rain.
Take a closer look at the body itself. Chest check to see if there's any of those scorch marks on any of its parts as well.
Make a perception check.
That said a +2, but my perception has a +4 on the stats over here.
It's +2, +2.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Gotcha.
Okay, so with a 20, looking at the body and looking at the wounds, you now notice something that didn't stand out before. And I think the combination of what Sights had discovered with the scorch marks kind of is what brought you back here. And you take a closer look at the wounds, and coupled with the fact that there was a lack of blood around the body, you notice that the wounds themselves, it looks as though they've been cauterized, and that might explain lack of blood.
Interesting. So basically, kind of talking to sides as she was being slashed, she was also being cauterized like a lightsaber claw, kind of. So, on the way back, we can talk about what kind of movies you like. Um,
Right.
Cocaine Bear was great. Anyway, um, beyond the body and the um, footprints, are there any other item and the claw marks? Are there any other items here at the crime, this part of the scene anyway, that are oddities that would kind of just pronounce themselves? Um,
I mean, looking around, and I mean, some of the deputies have kind of already done a cursory, examination of the scene. Usually, you're going to find like evidence markers and so forth, and they've got a few things marked off, but nothing significant. Um, the only thing that you note, and this was something that you were asking about earlier, is her uh, CB radio that she would be wearing on her uniform. It is still attached to the uniform,
mhm, mhm.
and that pulsing kind of static, faintly, is coming through her radio as well. You didn't notice it before until you got real close to the body and started looking at those cauterized wounds. And
Kind
while
of,
you, oh, go
uh,
ahead.
um, was going to say, so over the course of time that she had all this happening, she would have had that radio on her. It seems like at some point, if you're throwing someone around and doing stuff to them, you're going to jostle that radio. There's going to be at some point where something goes out, somebody hears something.
I mean, that's probably a logical assumption, I would think, right? Hey, Sheriff, can I see your radio? And he takes it in his hand and then he presses it. This is just a test. Gentlemen, can you hear me up there? And there's no response from the deputies that are up on the ridge. Whatever this interference is, I think it's causing an issue with the radios.
I wonder if there's a way for us to track where the interference is coming from.
Are you getting a signal on your phone?
Take it out.
And Sights is looking at his as well. He says, I got nothing. You got anything? Nothing.
Nothing.
And Mercer says, well, it's not really that uncommon out here. I'm not so sure if that's connected or not, but the radio's not working. I mean, they're close enough. I mean, truthfully, we should probably be getting feedback. Um, as you guys are discussing that, um, off in the distance, you can hear kind of the trees rustling a little bit and footprints uh, coming fairly rapidly down the hill. Breaks the uneasy quiet of the forest. And Mercer looks up and stiffens. Oh, hell. And a woman is pushing through the tree line at a near run, tall, lean, and her ranger's jacket half zipped up as if she threw it on in haste. Her cheeks are flushed from exertion, her eyes wild with grief and panic.
Presuming that's Elma.
Um, she comes running down the hill and she says, Erica, Erica! And two of the deputies kind of close in on her and kind of grab hold and kind of keep her away from the scene. Let me through. Let me see her. And Mercer intercepts before she gets more than a few feet inside the tape parameter. He plants both hands on her upper arms, firm but not harsh. Elna, Elna, stop. You don't want to see her like this. She struggles against him, pushing, clawing to get closer. I have to. She was one of mine. Just let me. Elna, please, look at me. She does. Her breath trembles a little bit, and her eyes shine with swelling tears. Something in Mercer's expression, equal parts authority and sympathy, finally breaks through. Her resistance drains, replaced by shaking exhaustion. She covers her face with one hand, turning away from the terrible sight behind him. Mercer eases his grip but stays close, as though worried that she might make another attempt. I'm sorry, she whispers. God, Mercer, what happened to her? We're working on it. The FBI is here to help get us some answers. That's why you need to hold it together. I need you sharp. She swallows hard, nodding once. She wipes her eyes with the back of her wrist and composes herself with visible effort. When she speaks again, her voice is rough but steady. Introduce me. Elna Brooke stands straighter, pulling her jacket into place and clearing her throat. Even in grief, she carries herself with the authority of someone used to commanding a team and keeping a park running. Sheriff Mercer gestures towards the two of you. These are the agents from the Bureau. They're heading the investigation. Elna forces a polite, tight-lipped nod. Chief Ranger Elna Brooke, Crescent Falls District.
Agent Sam stutters well. He nods back at her.
Agent Eric Seitz.
Appreciate you. Well, this is a dire circumstance, so thank you for your willingness to talk to us. Um,
Thank you. I can answer whatever you need. She was good. One of my best.
I think that we have at least two things that you probably would be uniquely in a position to help us with. We have footprint and claw mark that are rather distinct. It'd be good to know if you and the ranger services have encountered them at other points. Uh, would you mind taking a look at them with us?
And Mercer kind of interrupts. He says, Agent, if it's all right, I'd like to clear the body out of here first. Um, with those claw marks being so close, I don't want Elna seeing her.
And Sam nods. I understand.
Look,
I'll tell you.
why don't I have Elna take you back to the ranger station? It's a good place to sit down, ask her some questions. Once that's all said and done, we'll keep all of this cordoned off. I can bring her back out here. You can bring her back out here, whatever the case. But let's get um, let's get the body back to the station. There's a coroner's office in the back. I can meet you guys there once you guys are finished with Elna. Maybe give it a
So,
couple hours. It'll take a little while to get her out of here because we got a 10-minute trek through the woods to get her out. But I've got ambulances on the way already.
all right. That sounds acceptable to me. If Sites is cool with it too. Um, Out of curiosity, do we have cameras other
Mhm.
than our phone? Okay.
At this point, honestly, probably the phones are probably as good as any camera. So you probably, have been taking pictures, I imagine, of everything with the phones anyhow.
Okay. All right.
And if
We'll
you got pictures of the footprints and the claw marks, you can certainly show those to her, at the ranger station.
mhm, mhm. But so we do let Bursar take over with handling Erica's body and getting that moved to the coroner so that they can begin doing any additional steps they need to on that end. And ask Elna, could we follow you to the ranger station?
I'll be happy to lead you there. Look, I want to help you find whoever or whatever did this. Whatever it was, it dies in these woods. Do you understand me?
Kind of look to sites and kind of look back and just kind of give one nod.
And Sight says, first thing we got to do is figure out what did this. And to do that, we're going to need to talk to you. And she heads back up the way that she came. You guys follow. And she gets into uh, her SUV and heads off in the direction of the ranger station.
Pay attention to the CB radio
Mm-hmm.
and the even the radio of our own car and phones, just to see at what point we begin getting back the normal radio service and everything.
Um, as you guys head up the hill, in the direction that she came, it dissipates, and disappears.
Okay. All right. Have to. I'm going to check at the coroner's office if I can remember to see if the same interference happens,
Hmm.
just to see if it circulates on the body or if it's something else that would be causing the interference.
Gotcha. So you travel uh, up the road a bit. Takes about 10 minutes to through these winding paths or winding roads to get to the ranger station. It's a broad, single-story log cabin. The exterior is stained kind of a deep honey brown that's weathered by years of mountain sun and winter storms. The shingles of the roof have seen better days, and a metal radio tower rises behind it, skeletal against the sky. A green wooden sign out front reads Crescent Falls Ranger Operations District Headquarters. There's a battered pickup truck and two mud spattered parked vehicles parked beside it. Elna Brooke unlocks the front door and ushers you inside. Once you get in, let me see here. I think I've got a map of this somewhere. Maybe. Do I? Hello? There it is. Once you get inside, um, the station smells faintly of pine cleaner, wet boots, and old paper. The worn hardwood floor is scored with years of tracked in dirt and equipment marks. A single wood paneled interior gives the place a rustic utilitarian charm. There's a pair of sturdy desks that sit across from each other, one covered neatly with stacked forms and radio logs, the other a chaotic sprawl of field reports and topographical maps. A corkboard near the back wall is cluttered with event notices, lost dog flyers, seasonal hazard warnings, and handwritten notes taped over each other in multiple layers. A large U.S. flag hangs vertically from a pole set into the front corner. Opposite, a framed photograph of the Crescent Falls Ranger team, Erica included, rests on a shelf above the coat rack. The air is still, too still given the chaos unfolding in the forest. Elna walks over to one of the desks, steadying herself with a hand on the back of the chair before she sits. She takes a slow breath, exhales, and folds her hands on the desktop. Her eyes remain tired but resolute. She nods towards the second desk with the few mismatched chairs against the wall. Make yourselves comfortable, or as comfortable as this place gets. All right, what can I do for you?
Well, go ahead and take out a copy of the picture of the original track and also using phones show the additional pictures. Y'all ran across anything that looked like this before?
Sheriff Mercer showed me the photo. I've seen that. But the only time I've seen it was in the photo. Nothing like that out here.
Okay. Hmm. About that interference that the comms were getting out there. Have you ran into that before out there?
Well, I noticed that as I was coming down the hill. If I'm being honest, I heard something like that come over the radio the night that Erica went missing. And it was both prior to and after, uh, or I suppose, and she kind of wells up a bit when she says this, I suppose whenever she went missing. And it died shortly after. I mean, we get interference from time to time, so I didn't think too much about it. In all honesty, I kind of just turned the volume down when it happened, and now I'm worried that I might have missed something.
Hmm. Did you have any other agents who were on patrol at that time? A chance.
At that late a time, there's myself, there's Erica, and then we've got two other rangers out and about. It's a large area, but usually late at night, there's not much call for us to really be out, and truthfully, out in the woods is not necessarily the safest thing, even if you've got a high-powered flashlight out there. There are bears in the woods
Okay.
and other predators out there as well. But I mean, we've not had any attacks on any humans probably for 6, 7 years.
Mm-hmm. I've been wondering if maybe there was a change to how y'all were doing things because of the boy being looked for. Um,
Well, I know the boy's mom. She and I went to school together. Denise is her name. So, I mean, there's some personal stakes involved, I suppose. I mean, she wants her boy found, obviously. And Erica and I, are pretty close, and she knows how much I think of Denise and Jacob. And I think she was kind of out there doing me a favor, and just kind of keeping an eye out. I mean, obviously, we've been looking for him, throughout the daylight hours, but she's not been a part of that search party. And, she works the night shift and just figured while she was out and about, she'd take a look around. She was within, I don't know, about a mile or so of where he disappeared, but just kind of on the outer range of the search area. And I don't know, she said she thought she saw something, got out of the car and said she's going to take a look around. She didn't call back. I just assumed she didn't find anything.
yeah, can I ask you something that's off the record
All
for
right.
you?
Um, I'm not keeping records, so
Okay. You very think it's fairly obvious and understandable that there's a personal stake in what's going on um, for you.
mm.
Um, but someone who I imagine is not just a coworker but a friend. You seem like a very proactive individual. Is there anything that you have been doing on your own, independent of the police investigation, to try and find Erica that might be beneficial for us to know about, which you might not feel as comfortable sharing with the sheriff right off?
Well, I mean, obviously we're incredibly concerned. We know that there's search parties out there. I've got a few of my people, working intently with the police department, but there's only so much that they can do. My people know the forest like the back of their hand, and any hours that are not spent with the official search parties, we're doing our own searches on the side.
Mm-hmm. You run anything other than, well, I mean, it can be in addition to those footprints or the interference, but is there anything additional that you've encountered that might might have at least given you an inkling that there was something that you wanted to check out on?
Well, the only thing that I can say is, based off of what I've seen from the crime scene photos and I mean, I was there, I saw the vehicle itself and saw the damage that was done. I'm no expert, but I certainly, can recognize a hit and run when I see it. I can honestly say that it doesn't appear that whatever hit her was another vehicle. Um, there was a report a couple of days ago of a citizen clipping what he said might have been a large bear not too far from Erica's crash site a few days ago. His name is Timothy Harris. I know him. He's a regular hunter in the area, lives out on Drury Lane. But I saw the damage to his vehicle, and to be honest with you, it was the same. Now, we've had a few, I mean, we get people hitting deer right and left out here. I mean, it's a daily occurrence. Occasionally, a bear will get in the way, somebody will clip it. But usually you're going to find blood, you're going to find hair uh, on the vehicle, right?
Mhm.
In either of these cases, both Erica and Tim, there was nothing left behind, just a dent. And in the case of Erica's, obviously a huge one. This was intentional. Tim sounds like he hit it, it didn't hit him.
Hmm. She has
And
maps all up around, right?
yeah, and she said, I mean, if he hit it, and I mean, he claims that he was going about 40 miles an hour. Any animal that you're going to strike at that speed, you're going to injure it and it's going to leave some sort of physical evidence behind. But I'm telling you, there wasn't a streak of blood, not a single strand of fur or hair left on that vehicle.
Hmm. He walks over to one of the maps that she has displayed. If she doesn't already have anything on it, he'll take like a thumbtack and put it where um, the original uh, car that the ranger was driving was found. Takes and puts another one where the body had been found. Kind of puts another one where the bike was located. And you mind putting a tack where the fella Timothy, I think you said, clipped the bear
Yeah. And
or the thing?
she grabs a tack and she plunges it in almost halfway in between the two. It's on
Hmm.
the outer circumference of the search area, though.
Hmm.
So probably maybe about a half mile from where Erica's body was discovered.
Okay. So about that area. What I'm thinking is that whatever it is, it seems like it's still around. That's going to be the concentrated area that seems like it's doing all of its stuff in. Let's see one thing real quick. I think at this point, these would be things that I'd talk about with sites.
Okay.
Privately, probably not necessarily in this exact moment.
Hmm.
But as far as what our objectives were, I think that at the moment, this does qualify as something that is an X-Files thing, because it seems to be a possibly somehow invisible thing that's able to claw and cauterize human flesh, uh, has a very distinct footprint. Um, so it falls into that inexplicable area. And I think that our main objective at this point probably becomes trying to focus on making sure that the people in the area themselves remain safe. And if we have the opportunity to contain the thing, then we do. Um, but I think that that's where Sam would go in his thinking on what their priorities have become at this point. Um,
Sights kind of speaks up, and I know you haven't necessarily told him all that just yet, but one of the other things that was mentioned was to, speak with any survivors or witnesses and so forth, and we're already doing that with the ranger here. But he
mhm.
mentions, he says, I understand you mentioned, ma'am, that you are friends with the missing boy's mother. Um, would you be able to introduce us to the family so that we could maybe interview them and kind of see the circumstances surrounding the boy's disappearance and see if there's any connection between the two? And she says, "Yeah, I can make a phone call. I would imagine that Denise is probably available. I know that her husband has been out looking for the boy, uh, so I know he's off work, but he may not be with her." And Sight says, "No, that's fine. As long as we can speak with at least one member of the family, that would be great. I'll make the call." And this Timothy guy, the one that clipped whatever it was, probably like to speak with him too. I'll see what I can do. And she makes the call and calls both this uh, Denise Riley. She's able to get a hold of, and she said, her husband had come back for lunch, and he's there with her now. But he's planning on heading back out shortly. So if we want to talk to both of them, we probably need to get out there pretty quickly. She says, I'll go with you. I'll try to get a hold of Tim on the way.
Sounds good.
And then I assume on the way, you probably kind of let, Eric know your thoughts on, the whole X-Files thing and so forth, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Um, She hops back in the SUV, and Crescent Falls turns into quiet residential streets as you follow her towards the northern edge of town. Houses here are modest, mostly one or two-story homes built in the early 80s, each with wide front yards and tall pine trees leaning over the rooftops like watchful sentinels. The Riley neighborhood is still, not dead, but muted, like sound doesn't carry quite as well here. A lone swing set creaks in a neighboring yard. Curtains shift in windows as you pass. And people are watching. Word travels fast in a small town, especially when a kid disappears. Elna slows, signals, and pulls into the driveway of a beige split level home with chipped trim and a front porch sagging at one corner. A faded welcome mat lies crooked beneath the door. Two porch lights, one warm, one flickering, glow dimly in the overcast afternoon. A yellow ribbon is tied around the mailbox post. The door opens before anyone knocks. Thomas Riley, early 50s, stands in the threshold. He's unshaven, still wearing a flannel shirt but buttoned wrong, tired eyes that have been red for days, tattoos up and down each of his arms. He's a big, hulking figure. He straightens at the sight of the agents and Elna, but the stiffness in his posture masks a deep, gnawing guilt rather than confidence. You better come in. Living room is dim, as if the lights haven't been turned on in days. The blinds are half drawn, casting long bars of shadow over a couch buried under blankets, coats, and unopened mail. I got a map here of this too, maybe. There we go.
These are interesting perspective maps. I'm used to
Thanks.
the over
Yeah, right. Yeah.
over
Yeah, I'm
display.
trying to set a mood for you here.
You're doing a good job.
um, so the blinds are half drawn, casting long bars of shadow over a couch buried under blankets, coats, and unopened mail. Cold cup of coffee sits untouched on a side table. The air smells faintly of stale takeout and cedar. Family photos line the mantle. Jacob at 5 wearing oversized hiking boots. Jacob at 10 with a fishing rod nearly taller than he is. Jacob at 16 looking into the camera with a half smirk and eyes too bright for this version of the house. Thomas clears his throat but doesn't speak. From the hallway, Denise Riley emerges. She's a few years younger than Thomas. Here's her picture. Um, she's wearing a cardigan that's pulled a little bit too tight around her shoulders. Her hair is tied back haphazardly, and her expression is soft but fractured, like she hasn't slept in more than an hour at a time since her son vanished. She gives the agents a timid nod. Please sit. Can we get you? I'm sorry, I'm not thinking clearly. The house is oppressively quiet, except for the faint ticking of a wall clock and the occasional sniffle that Thomas tries to hide. Elna rests a reassuring hand on Denise's arm as she guides her to sit. And you're left with kind of the unmistakable sense that the house is holding its breath, caught in that terrible space where hope is shrinking but not yet dead. Thomas finally breaks the silence, staring at the floor. If you're here, it means they found something. Just tell us what you need.
And of looking at the different pictures of Jacob, your boy looks like he would have probably been pretty competent out in the woods. Am I right on that? Just curious.
I've been taking him out since he was about knee high. Started hunting with me when he was about 12.
Hmm. I know you've been out and about, it sounds like, trying to see if you can help with the search. Are there any places that you would have thought to search that your average person wouldn't, knowing them, knowing the places you've taken him in the past?
I've covered most of the area that's close to the house. I mean, we're about, as you know, about 2 miles up from the main forest. They found his bike. I've been kind of searching that area where his bike was found and have gone. I've probably covered about maybe a mile in circumference from that area, and nothing's turned up. And that's stomping ground that he's familiar with, so I'm not surprised that they found his bike there. But he went off I wouldn't say middle of the night, but late enough, after his mom and I went to bed. And it wasn't until morning that we realized he was gone.
Is that normal for him?
No,
Hmm.
no, he's been going out recent. Said he has been hearing sounds out in the forest, like a swarm of bees in a tunnel, is what he called it. And Denise kind of chimes in and she says, he's been having dreams. Oh, come on, Denise. No, I, I know you think it's silly, but he told you about the sounds in the forest, but he's been telling me about the dreams. Several nights before the incident, before he disappeared, he woke up shaking like he used to when he was little. He's been complaining about a shadow with a mouthful of wires. He told me that he saw faint lights deep in the woods about 2 days before he disappeared. People around these woods say that the forest is sick. It's haunted.
Anybody say what with?
Um, Thomas says people have been talking about those woods in the forest for decades, ever since I was a kid. Old wives' tales, it's probably ball lightning or swamp gases. I mean, there's all different sorts of things that can cause lights like that. I mean, hell, I've seen the swamp gases myself. I've seen the lights. I mean, it's shit like that happens. I can't explain it. There's some science behind it.
I got that. Yeah.
And I mean, I know the boy's seen it too. I mean, he's been with me when I've seen him. I mean, but just because he saw some lights out there doesn't mean that, he was abducted by some sort of alien or Bigfoot or some shit like that.
No. More asking because the more we can know about what his thoughts on things were, like what he believed about them, the better we might understand his motivations for leaving at an odd hour, why he went where he went when he went there, what path he might have taken, that kind of thing. So that's why we're asking, mainly to be able to kind of get into his perspective the best that we can in case we happen to, as outsiders, pick up on something that, kind of gets lost in the wash when you're right there in it. You guys have insights that we can't have because you're his parents. You're with them day in, day out. But we're, people who are not in that position. And that gives us some strengths too. But we do have to kind of try to collaborate. So that's why we're asking, like, what did he believe about the dreams? What did he believe about the lights, for instance?
Denise chimes in and she says he believes that his dreams are connected to the woods. The nights that he's had these nightmares, he tells me that he's been walking through the woods and then he's seen this thing with a mouthful of wires and he's just become obsessed with it. And he's been going out and he's been trying to find it. Now, why? I don't know. Thomas, I'm going to get the camcorder. God damn it. You already gave it to Mercer, and he said that there's nothing that he could pull from that. I know, but it's important. I mean, he saw something, he showed it to us. We didn't do anything about it. You said it was a bear, you said it was a deer. It could have been anything, but now he's gone. These agents are here. They haven't seen it. They need to see it. Jesus Christ, woman. You have to pardon her. And she heads off into the boy's bedroom, comes back out with an old camcorder. I mean, this thing is probably, turn of the century, early 2000s. And something that obviously, the kid probably just pulled out of a box somewhere and got enamored with it. And she pulls it up and then pulls the little viewer on the side and hits play. And the image jitters at first, and it's Jacob pretty much just kind of adjusting the zoom. The footage stabilizes enough to show a nighttime forest path lit only by the pale cone of the camcorder's built-in light. The sound is muffled, but you can hear Jacob's breathing, quick and excited, maybe nervous. He whispers something too low to make out. Branches sway in a wind that you can't hear. And Jacob pans the camera left, nothing. Right, nothing. Then he zooms in on a distant, shadowed cluster of pines. For a moment, the image goes grainy. Then the audio distorts, a soft vroom, like a low frequency hum, that kind of bee swarm sound buried beneath static. And that static all too familiar. The camera struggles to focus. Through the trees, something reflects the light back at the lens, not quite eyes, more like two thin vertical slits of faint bluish glow. Jacob gasps. The camera jerks as he takes a step backward, but it keeps recording. The hum grows louder. The glow shifts, sliding sideways behind a tree with a movement that's too smooth, too fast, and too tall for a person. Jacob whispers, What was that? Then a sudden metallic clicking erupts from the tree line. The camera stutters, freezing on a single frame. A long, narrow silhouette, possibly impossibly thin, half hidden between two trunks. You can't see details, you just know that the shape feels wrong. The frame unfreezes. Jacob sucks in a breath. The clicking is closer now. The camcorder flickers, dims, and in the last half second of footage, something rushes past the lens, too fast to capture, just a smear of movement accompanied by the sharp snap of branches, and then the screen goes black. The final audio scrap plays before the recording ends, a faint, layered whisper, something like, not alone. But the distortion makes it impossible to be certain.
Sam kind of is looking at it, and he says, "Do you know where this footage was taken?"
It's impossible to tell from the darkness.
Hmm. Do you have any fishing holes he was keen on, or any places that you guys had a deer stand set up, or anything
Well,
like that?
I've pretty much covered all of those areas myself while I've been out searching. But
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, I can show you where they are if you want.
Hmm. Do y'all mind if we hold on to this video?
He looks at these. She says, anything that'll help find my boy.
Thank you. I think we might should. Do you mind if we take a look at the boys' room?
No, no, that's fine.
Okay. Can I do an investigate check in the room?
Sure.
Mhm. Could be worth. No, kind of. I'm assuming that's a fairly standard room. Uh, so kind of look under his. If he has school books, kind of look through his notebooks, see if he has any notes in them. If he has anything jotted down, looking at that, checking his bed, that sort of thing. If he has other recording devices, like if he has a phone that was in there with him or an
Mhm.
iPad or something, kind of take looks at those real quick.
All right. And go ahead and make an investigation check.
Oh, I did. It's
Oh, you
at
did.
13.
Oh, it's the
Yeah.
13. Oh, sorry. I didn't see it happen.
Mhm.
Um, so you kind of look around a little bit. I mean, the kid looks like he was probably a bit of an artist, so there's a lot of sketches and stuff like that around. You kind of look through some stuff on his desk in the room, and he's got like a sketch pad. And there's all different sorts of stuff in there. I mean, he's got, drawings of anime characters and life sketches, some wildlife and uh, landscape type stuff. But all of a sudden, the further back in the book you get, you start seeing patterns that he's just drawing kind of random like patterns, but they look like neuro branches, very similar to what you saw in those burn marks out in the forest.
Okay. Take some pictures of those. Um,
And then you also see like this creature type thing that he's drawn a couple of times that is similar in some ways to some of the anime stuff that he was drawing earlier in the book, but this is much darker and it has a mouth full of wires. Long, tall, slender, uh, and six-fingered claws.
I show this all to Sites because I'm assuming Sites went in there with me.
Hmm.
Um, so what do you think? Let Thomas show us those spots, and then we try to catch up with uh, Harris, Mr. Harris.
Yeah. Um, when you went back here, Elna and I were kind of talking just a little bit. She said she tried reaching out to that Thomas or that Timothy Harris, and hasn't been able to reach him. But it's very possible that he's at work. I mean, he works during the daylight hours, may not have his cell phone on. But she knows where he works. We could potentially go there. I'd kind of like to, if Mercer's got the body back at the coroner's office, I'd kind of like to take a look at that real quick and see if there's anything else that, we might be able to get out of the coroner. We know that the wounds were cauterized, but that's about all we know at this point. I'd like to see if he has any ideas on what could have caused both the claw marks and the cauterization. But my feeling is we're not going to get much out of him as far as other than just speculation.
All right. Well, we'll get the lowdown from Thomas, then head back out towards town. Maybe stop and get some lunch.
Mhm.
And before going to the coroner's, or is it
Mhm.
better to do that after going to the coroner's? I honestly am not sure.
Yeah, it's a little bit after lunch. I'm getting a bit peckish, so maybe stopping and kind of comparing notes a little bit before we go to the corners might not be a bad idea. Um, Riley's gonna put a little map together for us and kind of mark the spots on the map to show, where the watering holes are for him and the boy, and then we can maybe go out there, before dark and see what we can find. He's pretty adamant about the fact that he's searched that area pretty thoroughly, but it probably wouldn't hurt to put a second pair of eyes on it.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. He doesn't say this out loud, but Sam also, recognizes that if he if he's afraid of being found by his parents because he did something he, doesn't think his parents would like, he would hide. So
Mm,
he doesn't say that aloud, but that probably comes up in conversation
yeah.
on the way back to town. But all right, goes out and thanks Thomas and Denise for their help, and we'll do our best to see if we can help you find your boy. Um, so
I appreciate everything that you're doing. Just promise me you'll do everything that you can to bring my boy back safely.
we'll do what we can.
All right. So, you had mentioned something about going to grab some lunch or something before heading to the coroner's office. So, I mean, if we want to play that scene out, we certainly can.
Sure. Um, we you want to grab lunch and eat in the car, or you want to sit down somewhere and eat?
I don't know. We passed that diner on the way in. You want to see what they got at the Greasy Spoon?
Yeah, yeah. I've been to my fair share of those in my life. Why not one more here in West Virginia? Yeah. You and that from what you're saying, it sounds like you're not a health food nut.
I like a good burger.
Okay. Well, that we'll have in common at least. So, what kind of music did they listen to on the way up, by the way? Like, do you if Sam had wanted to listen to like classic country, would that have created a riot in the car?
Well, you'll be interested to find out that um, Eric is a bit of a jazz fan,
Okay.
but
Okay.
he's not. I mean, he he's open to just about anything. But I mean, coming from he's spent the better part of this century now down south in Louisiana. And he's just kind of become immersed in the jazz scene down there. So most of his is a little bit more, kind of up tempo rather than the dreary, backwater, jazz. Uh, he likes the Zydeco like music and stuff like that. So really upbeat and up tempo.
Okay. Cool. Maybe each of them agreed after long discussions of their genres of choice to it was at least proposed by Sam that they each play
Uh-oh, we froze. I don't know if you can hear me or not.
get to be in charge of the jukebox like half and half. Like I can now.
Okay, all
I
right,
think
good.
you're back. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, there you go. You're back too. Okay, there
Yeah.
we go. I don't know what happened there.
But yeah, maybe each of like Sam's like, well, you want to do a jukebox? Like I'll do three songs, you do three songs, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
Um, Hopefully they've got Sirius XM in the car because you're probably not gonna find much Zydeco music up in these parts.
I mean, I can't say that that wasn't part of Sam's, thought. I mean, I figure that Eric might be able to even stream his music somehow through the car if he has a iPod or
That's
something.
true.
So, but okay, cool. So that's pre stuff. So so going into the diner kind of takes a look at the menu, and a burger sounds really good. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go with that too.
Okay, so what are your thoughts so far? I'm kind of curious to see what you're thinking at this point. And you can kind of see that Sights, his Cheshire smile aside, he is kind of sizing you up here to kind of see what you say and kind of testing you.
Okay. Um, First thing that Sam does is he inspects his tea to see if it's really sweet when he asks for sweet tea or not.
Up here, not so
Yeah,
much.
that's what
But
that's what I thought.
there's sugar and sweeteners galore on the table for you.
It's like I'm going to have to do so much of this to get this right with it being cold, but
You sure you're not from down south?
all through the Blue Ridge. That's where I've been stationed all this time. So, well, I think it definitely fits the bill for what we're supposed to be looking into. Uh, as far as my thoughts, I don't know how much this character really knows about lore. I mean, if he's been. Mm, can I do kind of like a general intelligence check relating to different kinds of lore that might be applicable? You know, folklore or um, monster experiences, abductions, all that kind of stuff. There's not really a skill that that fits with that. I don't.
I think truthfully, it's probably going to fit under natural sciences.
Natural sciences.
Hmm.
Okay. You mind if I do a little natural
Hmm.
science roll here?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So,
Ooh, that's pretty good. 21. So I mean, based off of that, I mean, and your general kind of knowledge of all things, supernatural, paranormal. I mean, I don't know where you stand on all of that, but I would be interested in hearing your guesses on this, just as the GM more than anything. And then if I need to fill in any blanks or give you any hints, I'll do so.
all right. Well, so like I was saying, we at some point will have to talk about our genres of choice. I sometimes get in the mood for horror, so run into different things. I haven't really read up a lot on this like Slender Man concept, but really kind of runs a direction of something almost like that with maybe a bit more of a 30 days of night uh, vampire thing going on with it. Doesn't And of course he's not talking loud enough for anybody to hear around
Hmm.
them. It's intended to be private conversation. But you know, talked about panthers, a bipedal panther that's able to, I don't know, burn things. You know, got hellhound kind of things going on with that. Um, I'm not saying it's any of these things, mind you. I'm just kind of talking about the things from pop culture and the things that I've heard about that kind of run in the direction of the less natural, if that makes sense. So
You know,
that's one thing.
Assistant Director Cortez mentioned something when she pulled us together to begin with. And it sounds to me like, she's trying to build a team here. And you and I seem to be the guinea pigs, at least right now. There wasn't anything in the documents that I received and that I signed that said we couldn't necessarily talk about our own experiences. But I clearly have a clamped order on me dealing with the events surrounding my partner's um, death. Um, and through no real official channels, it has been made clear to me that any reference or discussion on matters outside the norm are not to be entertained. But Cortez has alluded to the fact that you and I both have had experiences that are difficult to explain, correct? And
Seen something.
I'm not asking you to tell me exactly what you have experienced, and there's a lot of stuff that I experienced early on in my career that is unexplainable. There's been a few things since I came back that have piqued my interest, and I've uncovered some things that I find difficult to explain by normal circumstances. But that's now what we've been tasked with, is to think outside the box. Now, you're giving me pop culture references, and that's cool. I get it. But what do you think this is?
Takes a drink from the straw of his tea, obviously not satisfied with it just yet, but it's getting there. Well, references aside, I think that what we're looking at is humanoid, not human necessarily. I'm not sure why it just started doing things, but that would suggest that either it was something that has recently found itself positioned here through intent or no intent of its own, or it was something that had gone dormant for a time and has started once again being operating. The fact that there was a lead up with a boy potentially, assuming that these are related incidents at any rate.
Yeah. Now, when you say lead up, I mean, are you thinking about the drawings that we found, that you found in the kid's room, in the dreams?
Yeah, and the the camcorder, the recording, but mainly the dreams and his depictions of what he saw when trying to understand and make sense of what he was encountering.
Right.
Um,
But I think what I'm understanding is that he was having these nightmares and dreams leading up to the point where he actually went out and started looking for this thing. So, do you think this thing is actually or was actually communicating with him in some way or calling out to him?
I think that, yeah, I think that if it was not an intentional thing, he found something that he was able to mentally orient as being that to him. Like even if it was not specifically calling him originally, when he started reacting as if it was, then at that point, it's possible that it became an intentional, well, I'll reach out to you kind of a deal.
Hmm.
Um, it's hard to know where the intention started or if it's a moment of cross wires. I mean, he might have just heard something and it was none the wiser about him until he took that camcorder out. And then it happened to take note of the fact that he had taken notice of it.
The mom mentioned something, and I didn't really think too much about it in the moment, but now that I'm really kind of thinking back on it, when she was talking about the kid having the dreams, uh, she said that she was going into his room to comfort him. I mean, he's 17 years old. I mean, he's a big kid now, right? But what she mentioned is like he used to do back when he was a little kid. And yes, kids have nightmares, kids have dreams. I kind of wrote it off as that's what she was referring to, but I'm wondering if she was actually referring to the fact that these are resurfacing after many years. Maybe he was having dreams like these back whenever that was. I mean, if we're talking about when he was a little kid, I mean, what does she mean by little kid? Was he 7? Was he 5, 3? How old was he? And if that's the case, were there disappearances like this that maybe happened back 10 years ago, 15 years ago, when he was little?
Hmm.
And was this thing somehow connecting through dreams to him at that point, and he was somehow keyed into it or something like that. Now it's back. So I'd be curious, maybe we should ask Mercer something about whether or not, something like this has happened here in town before, or if it's a recurring thing, that, happens every 10, 15 years or what have you, like it, if you wanted to go with a pop culture reference, right?
Right, right, right.
I
I
don't
agree
know.
with
I
that.
mean, it's just something that she said that just, as we're sitting here talking about it, just kind of makes me think.
No, I think that's a good direction to go. I mean, we might could even ask the coroner how long they've been working here when we talk to them,
Yeah.
because theoretically, if something like this was going on back then, they might have actually been the coroner who worked with anything that came in. I think that's a good idea.
I'm curious about the lights too. I don't know. I mean, you get that in pretty much every kind of, large forested area. And I mean, down south, down in New Orleans, I mean, it is a constant thing. And I mean, I've seen them too. And yes, Thomas is right. More often than not, you're talking about, swamp gases that are erupting out in the swamp, but it's a lot warmer down there. It's February. Up here, you're not going to get that kind of um, reaction, a physical reaction up here at this time of year like you would down there. It's got to be warm, it's got to be humid for something like that to happen. And it gets cool down south, in New Orleans, during the winter time, but cool enough for that to stop happening? Absolutely. And it's way colder up here than it is down there. And if I know it's not happening down there, it's absolutely not happening up here. So those lights have got to be something completely different. And if people are seeing them now, it's not from swamp gases.
No, going out at night is not exactly the most pleasant of things, but that's the only time we're going to really see those kind of lights.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, you can see them during the day, but I mean, you've got to be pretty close to see it. And I mean, like out in the bayou, you know. And it's still going to be in really heavily shaded areas for it to actually pop up. It's very rare to see it during the day at all.
Hmm.
And even on an overcast day like it is here, if it's swamp gases, which I'm telling you it's not, uh, we wouldn't see
Squirts a bunch of ketchup onto his fries.
them.
So you wanted to go to the coroner. Go to the coroner. We check in at work for the fella, Timothy. By that time, it's going to be starting getting towards early dinner.
Yeah, I think that's
Head out.
probably the best. Maybe give that guy an opportunity to get back from work. Uh, uh, the ranger said that she'd text me if she got a hold of him.
We want to go back out at all in the nighttime.
Hmm.
Is that a thing that we want to do independently, or something we want to try and get Mercer and Elma involved in?
I think if we go out at night, I mean, I mean, one of the things that we were told was try not to get the locals involved. Um, we certainly don't want to put them in danger, but we're also kind of at the mercy of being shown around. by them when need be. But we know the areas, and we certainly now have a good location on at least where Jacob potentially could have gone if he went anywhere in the woods. I say we use the map that Thomas gave us, and at least start looking around that area and see if there's anything that he missed. And we do that, you and I together, without putting the ranger or the sheriff at risk.
Sounds good to me. And if we maybe asking Mercer, like you said, if we don't get any additional things from the coroner, maybe getting an idea on if something's been going on periodically.
Okay. All right. Well, let's pay the check and we'll head on over to the coroner's office.
Sounds good. I'll catch it for us.
All right. So you guys meet up with Mercer back at the station. He walks you around back. The coroner's office is connected to the building, but there's not like an entrance from the sheriff's office into. So you have to walk around the exterior of the building and head to the separate office in the back. And he introduces you to Dr. Samuel Harrow, the county coroner. Harrow is in his early 60s, thin and long-limbed, with a neatly trimmed white beard and tired but intelligent eyes. And you'll have to pardon me because I actually didn't put a picture together for him.
It's okay. Not a problem.
Uh, but he wears wire-framed glasses low on his nose and a lab coat that appears a decade older than he is. His voice is quiet by nature, but his words carry weight, measured, exact, and clinical. Agents, I've begun a preliminary examination. You'll want to see this. The room is compact but organized with meticulous care. Stainless steel counters line the walls, holding trays of instruments, specimen jars, and labeled vials. A corkboard contains diagrams and anatomical notes pinned in neat rows. The lighting is cold and unforgiving. The air conditioning hums softly. They keep it cool in here. A single autopsy table sits centered under the brightest light, the chrome legs gleaming. And the body lies beneath a clean white sheet, the edges drawn respectfully over the contours of the deceased. A clipboard rests on a nearby tray. A digital recorder blinks red, still recording. Harrow pulls on a fresh pair of gloves, clears his throat, and folds the sheet back. This is Ranger Erica Souter. Erica's injuries are immediately apparent. The blunt force trauma from the SUV impact is severe. Her ribs are fractured, clavicle snapped, contusions run across her torso and arms consistent with violent rollover forces. Her left wrist is broken clean through, but that's only the beginning. Harl gently lifts one of her arms, exposing deep lacerations slashing across her shoulder and rib cage. The wounds are irregular, neither animal nor mechanical. Something with 6 fingers, elongated and asymmetric, tore through her clothing and into her flesh. The pattern, Harrow says, doesn't match any local wildlife. He moves to the head. Erica's face appears frozen in a rictus of extreme terror. Brows knotted, jaw tight, even in death. Her eyes are now closed, but Harrow explains softly. Her pupils were blown wide when she was found, classic fear dilation, but far beyond standard ranges. He points to a digital scan clipped to the light box. This is where things get complicated. On the image, Erica's brain is crisscrossed uh, section in kind of an illuminated color. There's evidence of hemorrhaging on multiple lobes, especially the frontal and temporal regions. The neural trauma is inconsistent with the physical injuries. It's not from impact. Something caused a catastrophic spike in neurological activity, like every fear response circuit in her brain fired at once. He opens a folder to reveal microscopic imagery. These show signs of electromagnetic overexposure, synaptic burnout, neural pathways scorched as if subjected to a high frequency burst. I've seen electrical injuries. I've seen lightning strikes. This is neither. It's as though something overwhelmed her brain with stimulus her body couldn't survive. And here's the part I can't explain. She appears to have died mid-panic response. Not a panic attack, but something magnified 1,000-fold. In all my years, I've never seen anything like it. Now, in the description that I just gave you, talking about those neural pathways,
Mm.
it's very similar to those burn marks that you've seen and to the drawings that were in Jacob's journal.
Mm. How long have you been working as coroner, sir?
I've been coroner now for the better part of 18 years, but I've been doing work like this most of my career. I've been in forensics since fresh out of college.
Have you ever seen anything reminiscent of this before?
Nothing like this that I've ever seen. Like, like I said, the closest that I've come is to electrical discharges or lightning strikes or something of the ilk. But this isn't that. I can tell you beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Mm. Oh, one moment. He, I don't know if he still has it with him, but if not, he leaves sites with him for a second to go get a one of the radios just to check to see if the radio is clear uh, within her presence.
You're getting no interference, no static.
Okay, cool.
He also says I neglected to mention, there was my understanding a lack of blood at the scene.
Mm.
The wounds that she has here on her body are cauterized, and that more than likely is the reason why there was not much blood on the scene. Um, Now, the cauterization here that I can see seems to somehow be connected to some sort of electrical charge,
Mm.
which would then potentially explain the damage that we're seeing in the brain as well. But why that would be transferred from a wound to the neural passageways, I can't explain.
Mm.
And I can I cannot tell you how these wounds would have been cauterized, especially if she was attacked by an animal. But by all indications, it appears that she was, but by no animal that I've ever seen, not in these woods.
It's at his brain. Sam's like, or a mad scientist.
Mhm.
Um, hmm. Mind if we hold on to some of the pictures of the brain scans that you did?
hmm I'll have copies sent to you.
Okay, thank you. You've lived here your whole life?
Um, Most of it. I came back in my early 30s and have been here ever since. I left for college and grad school and spent a little bit of time up north in Canada for a while, but came back, like I said, in my early 30s. I've dealt
Mm.
with, some animal attacks here locally before. And as I said, it certainly appears that these are claw marks, and it's very possible that I may be mistaken, but whatever I see here, it looks as though there is a third or a sixth digit, um, which is unlike anything. If this were a bear attack, bears do have five claws. They have five fingers, if you want to call them that. But that fifth one is usually much further back. So if a bear were to attack a human, normally you're going to find claw marks that are going to be four claw marks. So even if this was a bear that had an additional digit, the most you would probably see is going to be five. Um, so unless this is some sort of mutated anomaly, I cannot state that this was any type of animal that I'm familiar with.
Gotcha. Well, thanks. Do you have any other questions, or would you like to speak to Mercer real quick?
Um, no, I honestly, I think he's covered everything.
Okay. Thank you very much, Doc. We appreciate your help.
Thank you. If there's anything else I can do, please let me know.
Mm.
Um, that same deputy that interrupted you guys in the office earlier
Mhm.
rushes into the coroner's office. Sheriff, sorry to interrupt, but we got another missing person. Shit, who? Timothy Harris, the guy that hit the bear with the truck last week. Two of his hunting buddies, Wyatt Lafferty and DJ Kincaid, just called it in from Katie's Diner. Said he wandered off from the hunting party this morning, didn't come back. Deputy adds, a couple of our people are already headed over to Katie's, but figured you and the agents would want to know. You figured right. Agents?
Yeah. Do we want to go there or let them come here?
I say let's head on over there.
Okay. We can play it
They're
that
a bit
way.
squirrely. They don't like coming to the police office.
Gotcha. Maybe there's not really a back room at Katie's, I don't suppose, but
Yeah, not really. That's where we just came from. We might have actually just passed them as they were coming in.
yeah, maybe if we were to, is there a good spot that we can talk to them without having to talk in front of everyone?
Yeah, probably so. And if nothing else, Mercer says he can clear the room if need be, if the
Okay.
deputies already haven't.
Okay. All right. Cool.
All right.
So we do
So you guys end up heading back to the diner that you had your meal and your weak tea.
that.
And when you guys come back in, the bell door chimes as you enter, and at the far end, in a double booth beneath a mounted trout, two deputies stand beside Wyatt Lafferty and DJ Kincaid. And the rest of the room, other than maybe two of the waitresses and the cook, have exited the building, most likely at the request of the deputies. So the first picture I'm sending you is of Wyatt Lafferty, and then the second one is DJ Kincaid. Lafferty is wiry with a scruffy beard, camo jacket with too many patches on it. Smells faintly of campfire. DJ Kincaid is shorter, stocky, shaved head, backward cap, steel-toed boots. He's about 32, Lafferty's in his upper 40s.
Gotcha. Um, Speaking to Sykes and Mercer, as we're kind of approaching Mercer, this is your place. You know these guys. I think that if it's all right by you, we'll let you first kind of get some questions in, and then if you feel like you can vouch enough for us to ask questions, then that would be appreciated. But we don't want to, if they're squirrely, we don't want to spook them. We want to make sure that they feel comfortable.
Yeah, I'll start it off. We'll see what these boys are willing to give. All right, fellas. Deputies, if you give us some space, they nod and kind of head up towards the front booth near the door. Okay, boys, you're telling me Tim's gone missing. Let me hear what you got to say. Um, Wyatt speaks up first. He says, "Who are the suits?" FBI. They're here investigating the disappearance of the boy, Jacob, and the death of the ranger. If you haven't heard yet, they found her, but she's unfortunately been the victim of something out there in the woods. And Lafferty says, "Well, Tim was out uh, about 2 weeks ago, driving along the country roads out there in the woods, and kind of late in the evening, just after dusk, and he hit something, said it was a bear. Um, but it was big. And he's kind of been obsessed with it ever since. He's brought us out a couple of times, seeing if we could track the thing down. Um, Heard some weird noises out in the timber line a couple of times while we were out there around dusk a little bit after. Now I know we're not supposed to be out there around those times hunting, but Tim, he's once he gets his eyes set on something, he's gonna go after it. Well, we're hearing like these clicking noises, um, and almost like a buzzing sound, almost like a bees or something like that, some sort of insect off in the woods. And the other night we saw something, and it was tall and kind of hunched over off in the woods. Tim took a shot at it and it went running. But I couldn't really make out exactly what it was. But I tell you one thing, it ain't no bear. You got any questions, agents?
It, Buzz, so to put you in mind of the buzz from a, oh, what do you call them? Bug zapper?
Like almost electrical?
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
All
But
right.
but there was kind of a low hum to it as well, like almost a swarm of bees. But
Hmm.
yeah, I mean it now that I think about it, it kind of did almost sound like a crackling kind of sound. And it was definitely coming from where we saw that thing. Now, this was last night. We camped out, you know, through the morning. And when we woke up, um, Tim was gone.
You guys didn't job need like trail cam set up or anything like that?
Any what?
Trail cams? Yeah.
I didn't have nothing set up that night. No.
Okay.
I mean, he's got stuff. Tim's got stuff set up all throughout the woods to try to catch something. But as far as I know, he hasn't caught anything of whatever it was that we saw last night.
Yeah.
Now, like I said, Tim went missing last night. His tent uh, was tore up to shreds. It was still standing, but the side of it, not where the uh, zip line door is, but like on the side, was like ripped through, and he was pulled out. Now I didn't see no blood or nothing, but I mean, whatever it was, just ripped that side to shreds, and we didn't hear nothing.
Ripped, does it have any kind of like burn marks or melting marks? You notice?
I didn't notice.
Okay.
I mean, we saw that and we got the hell up out of there and came into town. Our phones didn't work, so we had to get somewhere where we could make the call to the sheriff's department. And by the time we got here to Katie's, that's when we called.
What was that a map? Can you point out about where you were?
Yeah, it's a place down this old logging road. It's called Dead Man's Spur. And then he kind of points in the area where it was. It's still within that search zone, but it's a little further north from where you guys have been. And probably closer to the area where Jacob went missing rather than the accident site.
We coordinated with those the fishing hole map uh, that we got from the father. So
It's
you're
close to that area, yes, and potentially within the area that Timothy might have been searching.
okay.
Right, wait, Timothy Thomas. Too many T names.
um, okay. Did you leave your camp up when you came?
Yeah, we
Or
got the fuck up out of there.
okay,
So I mean, I can take you back up close to where it was, but I'm not going back in those woods anytime soon.
okay. Yeah, we can follow that direction. What kind of stuff did y'all have at the camp that you left, just so that we have an idea what's out there?
Well, if I'm being honest, I left my shotgun up there. Um, I just got in the truck and went and I left it in the tent. I mean, we got all of our camping supplies and everything's still up there.
Okay. All right. What do you say? We want to go up there and have them show us where the entry to the camp would be, and we head that direction ourselves.
Yep, I say we saddle up
All right.
while the trail is fresh.
Sounds like a plan to me. um, when able to talk to sites alone. So, kind of between letting Mercer maybe have a second to talk with them one last time while we're half an aside. Now, we had talked about doing this without any kind of uh, local involvement. Do we want to try and stick to that? Or you know, and if we don't want to, do we, how do we keep from being followed at this point?
Now, this is a bit of a sticky situation because, I mean, we're still in their jurisdiction. I mean, I've been in this situation before, and until it's officially handed over to the feds, I mean, we are here on a consulting basis at this point. So while we were supposed to keep it to a minimum, I mean, when it comes to local officials, if they insist on going in, I mean, it is still their investigation. I mean, we cannot bar them from going with us, but
Hmm.
we just need to be careful.
All right. Sounds like a way to play it to me. So with that in mind, what saith Mercer uh, when we talk to him? What does he provide as his plan of action that he's planning to that's going to take care of the next 2 to 4 hours of his life? Should he survive that long?
Well, his plan is to take the deputies up with, but have them stay on the road and kind of keep the area cordoned off so nobody else comes in. And then he will join you on the search to the campsite and investigate the scene with you. Um, and that's his plan so far, anyhow.
we we appreciate you being willing to let us go in there with you. Um, just out of curiosity, how long have you been here? Like, how long have you been in your position?
Mercer,
Or in camp? Yeah.
I mean, he's lived here pretty much all of his life. Came onto the force when he was about 23, 24. He's in his, what I say, 50s now, I think. Can't remember how old he is.
That sounds about right.
52. Um, he's been sheriff for about 4 years now.
Okay. But on the force longer?
Yeah, he's been on the force, since he, was a cadet.
Okay. Um, trying to get around to Seitz's question because he had wanted to
Mm.
quiz Mercer.
About stuff like this happening before.
Right. Hmm.
Um, he says, we had a few folks go missing, about 12 years ago. Never really explained, never found any bodies. Hunters, like Tim, there's about three of them. And, uh, I can remember a campsite kind of like what these guys are describing, where something got in and apparently pulled somebody out. We chalked it up to, a bear attack at that point, but, never found a body.
Okay.
The other two just went missing. We have no idea. Um, Went off into the woods hunting alone and just disappeared. Neither one of those other two were locals, I don't think. Um, the one that got pulled out of the campsite, though, was a local.
Okay. Taking and speaking the sides aside, you want to look at any additional records related to what he's saying in case there's details that maybe he wouldn't have been privy to that happen to have been preserved in a record.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'll have Sharon up at the front desk see what she can pull from records. Like I said, it's been about 12 years ago. Honestly, I hadn't even thought about it until you mentioned it. I mean, I don't know if there's a connection or not, but I suppose it's worth looking into. Should have it probably by the time we get back. It's getting late in the afternoon. Sunset's pretty early this time of year. Probably about, you know, 5 o'clock. It's going to get dark out there, so we probably better get going.
Sounds good.
All right, so you guys head on out towards Dead Man's Spur, and you see rusted culvert about a mile in, and that's where the hunters said that they set up camp. Mercer says, "Yeah, I know this spot pretty well. Tim liked that spot. Good cover, good sight lines. So makes sense. It's probably his regular hunting grounds."
Before we go in after stuff, um, I'm not sure there's a discreet way to take a shotgun out of a out of a trunk. Um, but think Sam will go ahead and go go that direction, and you know, just in case.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mercer takes a look at it, does a little bit of a double take, and he says, "Well, looks like you came loaded for bear. That's not typical FBI regulation, is it?"
I mean, it depends on how big the track is, I guess. He just kind of
Better
laughs.
better safe than sorry, I suppose.
Yeah.
I'm not asking any questions.
Well, I like the rain effect.
Yeah, thanks. Um, all right. So he hops out of the truck. He says, "We're on foot from here." And the forest around Dead Man's Spur feels older, denser, almost heavier. Pine needles carpet the ground in thick, sound dampening layers, and the air smells metallic beneath the sap and soil. It's quiet, not peaceful, expectant. You hike a little deeper into the woods, and Mercer points out subtle trail markers, bent branches, faint boot scuffs, but his confidence kind of erodes with every step. The radio that is on his shoulder crackles softly at first, static, licking at the edges of transmission. Then the pulse returns, low, rhythmic, almost measured. No one has to say it, but you hear it. The hunter's campsite sits in a shallow depression surrounded by towering pines. A fire pit of blackened stones, two folding chairs, both of them knocked over. A tent collapsed inward as if something had uh, almost went through it rather than over it. Shit. I suppose we better search the perimeter.
Mhm.
If you want to make an investigation check, now should be the time.
Okay. Investigation. And
Sight's got a 12, you got a 16. All right, so you find uh, more six-fingered claw marks carved deep into a tree trunk overlooking the campsite, and with it that same scorched bark pattern in that kind of nerve-ending pattern.
is this like clinging to a spot on a tree, like squirrel style versus like down near the ground?
Closer to the ground, yeah, almost
Okay.
as if the thing had like two sets, like almost looking on onto the campsite, had its hands like placed there and then
Mhm.
raked off.
Okay.
And then nearby that, more of the same elongated footprints. These kind of moving around the campsite. So almost as if it were kind of sizing things up, stalking before it made its move.
Mm.
And then a clear line into the tent.
Is there any indication of someone being drug a distance?
Yep. And that moves kind of back in the direction where the claw marks were, kind of back into the woods.
Okay. Um, I point that out. Um, I also point at the shotgun. Anybody else want to also
Uh,
be
yeah,
prepared?
both Mercer and Sights pull out their sidearms.
Okay.
And you kind of follow that kind of drag line off into the woods, and about 50 yards down slope, you see a body.
Can I do a perception check to try to see it without having to go down directly to it? To identify it, unless I can identify it from where I'm standing.
Well, he's dressed in camouflage,
Okay.
for sure. So,
Most
and
likely hairless.
it is getting darker out at this point, but I mean it's light enough where you can clearly see him. And he's kind of twisted against the roots of an uprooted pine, torn open with the same horrifying precision as Eric Souter. Clothing shredded, flesh flayed, bones broken in ways that suggest both immense force and something a little bit more deliberate. Again, around the body, very little blood.
I skirt the grade down towards him. Probably a little bit of soil coming off from my boots as I get close by. Begin scanning the area around in case there are additional tracks that lead away or additional claw prints around.
And as you guys go down the hill towards the body, the radio on Mercer's shoulder just erupts into violent static and feedback.
Go ahead and I kind of do a kill
Yeah, he
motion to him.
reaches up and clicks it off.
It's not any good right now anyway. So crouching and looking around the tree line, are there any good spots to not to be too roguey here, but to go into stealth mode essentially, to begin becoming a person who is watching and stalking essentially? Um,
Uh, yeah, it'd be a stealth check. Yeah.
okay, I think that while I'm not sure if they're going to take time to look directly at the body, but I think that that's the direction that. Um,
Ooh.
oh, nuts! Well,
You step directly into a pile of leaves and sticks, and makes a large cracking noise and rustling sound.
well, crap. I
Make a
think there's poop
perception
down there
check.
too. It's like,
Yeah, make a perception check there.
holy crap!
Also a one.
I'm too worried about the poop. I'm checking my shoe. If it's not there, it might be imaginary poop, but I'm still Still very concerned about it, apparently.
So dusk is kind of beginning to settle here at this point, and it's starting to get darker. And after you stepped in that pile and are looking down at your shoes, you feel Eric's hand on your shoulder, and he says, "Stutters well, up ahead through the trees. Do you see it?"
Continues looking at the boots a few more moments than he probably should, and then kind of looks up and tries to determine if he can see what's being pointed out to him.
There's a faint glimmer deep in the woods, kind of a soft, wavering light, bluish light flickering between the trunks. It isn't moving like a flashlight, it's pulsing.
Yeah, I see that. I missed it before. But actually probably just kind of nods. Does it the environment around it, is it easily approachable? Is it very far away? Uh,
Kind of hard to tell from the distance, but sights kind of elbows you and like motions over towards Mercer, who is just looking at the body. He hasn't seen the light. And he says, "Sheriff, why don't you head back up to the road since the uh, your radio isn't working? Let the deputies know we found the body. We'll kind of stick behind and kind of search the area. We need to get somebody out here to cordon off the area as it is anyway. But we'll kind of take a look around if that's okay with you. I'll head up. It'll take a few minutes. That sounds good. We'll be nearby." And he whispers to you, "I don't think Mercer sees that light." And he's walking away in the opposite direction at this point. I think we better go check that out.
hmm, I agree. So now perhaps another stealth check is in order.
Yep.
All right, let's see if I can do better than last time. Hey,
Yeah, you did
okay.
pretty good. Sights didn't. Yeah, that's not great for sights. He steps in the same pile that you did. It doesn't make quite as much noise, but yeah.
Curious about
Um,
one thing real quick here. Um, okay, no, I was just curious about one of his abilities,
mm,
but I am moving, so it does not apply. So,
all right. Well, you guys step into the direction of where that light is coming from. And I have to adjust a couple things here. And the trees kind of part suddenly as you kind of pass through. Now, where you're going, there's not a trail. So you're kind of having to kind of push the underbrush aside to kind of get back to where you see that. And then eventually you kind of come across a clearing. And the trees kind of part suddenly into that area. The clearing is perfectly round, the ground beneath it bare and dark, as if nothing has grown here for years. At its center, you see a very strange vision. You see Jacob Riley. He is floating several feet above the ground, body limp, arms hanging loosely at his side, his head tilted upward, eyes closed, clothes torn and dirty, but he is unmistakably alive. Surrounding him is a shimmering field of light, rippling almost like heat distortion, and the glow seems to emanate from him, yet also pass through him as though he's both the source and the conduit. In the woods or in the area surrounding him, you hear this deep buzzing noise that's almost like a swarm of bees mixed with like an electrical sound.
Hmm, my goodness.
Sight says, "You are seeing this, right?
Sam nods his head. Yeah. Oh,
Make a
man.
perception check."
Okay.
Hey, there you go.
Yay.
You become aware that your phone in your pocket suddenly becomes super hot to the point where it's uncomfortable on your leg. Uh, you reach down into your pocket, and then your vision is drawn into the tree line off to your left, and something is moving super fast in your direction.
Um, well, is it something that's close enough to shoot at?
You may roll initiative.
Mm,
And then I'm trying to remember how we do that. It's been a little while. Oh, okay, so on your sheet, you have
mhm.
initiative, and you can roll initiative at advantage with your critical.
Okay. Oh, it
Oh,
says
I'm
there's no combat.
yep. Let me get that started. There we go.
Okay. Mhm. See where I did one roll, but as far as I know, I clicked at advantage, and that's a pretty good roll. So,
Yep. All right, looks like you and I are tied, but with your advantage, you get to go first. So, whatever this is that's coming at you, is coming in fast.
um, am I able to make out anything about it? Like, is this, you know,
Right now, it is just a shadowy figure, but you see two small slits of light coming from roughly about 7 feet uh, in height.
okay. Um, I am going to, I think I'm just going to shoot. Not to be, not to be uninventive, but uh, that seems like the right way to go. Um, I think at this point he'd only have access to one attack. I'm guessing. Um, does not have a disadvantage. He can target. Okay. All right. So for that, do I need to go to the actual shotgun
Yeah. If you go to that page
inventory?
under inventory, you go to the
Yeah.
double barreled, and then there should be a +5 that says roll two-handed attack when you scroll over top of that.
Okay.
I'll
I
just
will
click that.
go ahead and give this a go.
There you go. 22. That definitely hits. And then now you'll do the same right next to that where it's the damage, roll damage. 2d6 plus 3.
Yeah.
6. A big whopping 6.
So he just levels the gun as it's coming at him and takes a pull at it.
All right. As you shoot, you see it come a little bit more clearly into view. Whatever it is tall, it is black, and its flesh, there's no fur, is kind of almost like an oily black sheen to it. Uh, Extremely long limbs, both long legs, long arms, the arms ending in long extended claws, 6 fingers. Eric takes a step over to the side and fires his gun as well, and misses completely. And now it is the entity's turn. Ooh, he got a critical.
Mhm.
And as you hit it, and it sends it kind of off balance just a little bit, but then reaches out as it's running past you and takes a swipe and rolls critical. Ooh, yo! Does 23 points of damage.
Wow. So I am 1 point away from being out.
Oh my God. Well, it's been nice knowing you. Woo! And then it goes off into the tree line over in this direction here. Uh, and now it comes back around to you.
Okay.
And you can just see it as it enters the tree line. It kind of goes back behind that tree that's right there. So it's in like half cover.
Um, let's see. You said Jacob is incandescent and floating,
Yep. Hmm.
but not harmed, and not like having electrical pulses coming out of him or something like that.
It's hard to say.
Okay. Well, um, that took a lot out of Sam. There's doesn't think that the boy is necessarily immediately in danger, but there's not. I guess really at this point, something that he might would prioritize was trying to get Jacob out of the area. Um, I mean, didn't get the impression that he did a lot of damage to what he was attacking, and he is very much in pain. And I don't know, it wouldn't be all too, as a man of mystery, it wouldn't be necessarily out of uh, touch that he has been close enough to death's door to know what it feels like. So
Sam, give me the shotgun and get the kid. I'll hold it off.
he tosses the shotgun to Eric, and holding his he's not bleeding, just holding where there's this seam of flesh that's been sliced. He begins running towards Jacob to try to get Jacob. Which is the movement the same in this game?
You'll move 6 squares at a regular move. Now you can choose to dash, which would double your movement.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which would put you about right here.
Okay, I'll go ahead and do that. That's something I can do as a bonus action.
Hmm.
So I'll move myself over.
And Eric is going to position himself between you and him. Oops, come on, Eric, move. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's going to move to here to attempt to hold this thing off. And he's going to go ahead and, with the shotgun, go ahead and take a shot. Uh, and, ooh, good, got a 19. And does 8 more points of damage to this thing.
Mm.
All right. And then the thing goes 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it gets hit. And as soon as it gets hit, it reels, lunges towards sights, disappears, and then reappears behind him in between you and him.
And my go at this point.
Yep, comes back to you.
Okay. Um, well, one thing that I can, I suppose, do. Um, so I do have my two guns. So I do draw them out. And as I'm trying to kind of get myself in such a way that I can get to Jacob, I take shots, and since it's a bonus action, I guess a dash, I can try to catch him and start running, essentially. Does
Okay.
that sound possible, or is
Hmm.
that beyond the
Yep.
realm? Okay. All right. So go to inventory, and I don't know if either of these count as like an offhand attack or something for shooting the two guns. Is that just straight up with what it has right now?
If you're, well, I think you only have one attack, right?
Well, yeah. As far as I know, I only have one attack, but it does say when using like a gunslinging, you can draw two one-handed light weapons as a free action.
Oh,
In addition, you can reload, and that's at level 1. So I'm assuming that you must be able to use two guns somehow in the rules.
yeah, we'll go ahead. I mean, if you shoot both of them at the same time, I'll let you do
Yeah.
that. One of them would be offhand attack, right? So, and you can
Okay.
toggle that on there.
Okay.
There should be an
Um,
offhand on one of those.
all right.
So it looks like,
All
yeah,
right.
your pocket 38 is going to be offhand.
Okay. So this is the not offhand, and this is the um, how do you? I'm not seeing how I can make it an offhand attack for the other one.
Well, the other
Uh,
one would not be offhand. So your 9 millimeter would be your
right, but
non-offhand.
when clicking on
The
the
Pocket 38.
yeah.
So next to Pocket 38, you'll see three symbols. That one, if you hover over it, is one-handed, two-handed, and then offhand. Looks like two
Okay,
swords
okay.
above it. Click on
I
that,
see, I see. Thank you.
and then roll offhand attack.
All right, then. Okay.
All right. So your first one will hit, second one does not.
Okay. First one, the damage is uh that. So
10. Okay.
mhm. And continue on through uh to try and gather up um Jacob in my arms to move out of the area with him if I can.
All right. Make a strength check if you go over to your strength. Actually, this would be athletics, actually. So uh, click on athletics and make a roll there. Hey, look at
Oh,
that.
hey.
Okay, so you leap up. He's floating about 3 feet up off the ground. You leap up, grab hold of him, and with some resistance are able to pull him out of that energy sphere. And I mean, it's like pulling him out of like a pool of molasses. But you're able to pull him out of that. Eric takes a shot with his shotgun, or with your shotgun. Oops, I hit the wrong thing. Oh, apparently he has to reload. So he doesn't do that. Didn't have time to reload. Although that's a bonus action, I think. It is. So we're going to reload and shoot. Ah, and misses. Goes over the thing's head. And then you see the entity rushing towards you now. And as it does, that energy sphere, like almost it swells and then implodes. And you see the entity now rushing towards you with claws bared. And as it's coming down for a final swipe, it gets sucked in to that implosion and everything goes dark.
Um, Lots of heavy breathing. um, um, Kind of has the two guns, isn't ready to let them like put them up yet, but he's looking. Is there moonlight or anything like that, or is it that dark?
The sun is just going down, so there's still enough light to see back here.
Okay. He looks at Jacob. Is Jacob like knocked out? Is he kind of steering? Uh,
He begins to stir as you get him on the ground and kind of take your deep breaths, and you hear him just kind of muttering uh, and lets out just kind of a primal scream as the entity breaks apart. Uh, he that scream isn't a cry of pain. It's almost as like something is ripped out of him deep from the base of his spine. And that sound tears through the clearing, almost shaking leaves loose from the branches. He is disoriented and he begins muttering the voices, the lights, something about being somewhere else, but none of it really makes sense. And then he passes out from the sheer shock of everything. And in lieu of time, I've got an appointment that I got to pick my son up for. I'm going to
Mhm.
kind of fast forward here very quick to our epilogue.
Okay.
The hospital room is dim, lit by the pale glow of afternoon slipping through half-drawn blinds. Monitors hum softly at the bedside, and IV drips with patient regularity. Jacob lies propped up in bed, thinner than he should be, skin still pale, eyes ringed with exhaustion, but alive, very much alive. A clipboard rests in his lap. He grips a pencil with tentative fingers, moving slowly, carefully. He isn't drawing aimlessly. Each line is deliberate, each curve measured. The page fills with branching patterns, thin lines splitting again and again, weaving outward in an intricate symmetry. They resemble tree roots, veins, neurons, a nervous system without a body. He pauses, studies the page, then adds another line, extending it just a little bit further. Above him, the television flickers. The image stutters once, twice, and the sound drops out completely. Static crawls across the screen in slow, rolling waves. Then comes the hum, low, rhythmic, almost gentle. Jacob freezes. His pencil trembles in his hand. The hum deepens, layering with a faint clicking beneath it, barely audible, like something testing the air. The pattern on the page begins to look familiar, too familiar. Jacob swallows, sets the pencil down, and looks up at the screen. The TV snaps back to normal. A daytime talk show resumes mid-sentence. Laugh track, bright lights, nothing out of place. The room is quiet again. Jacob exhales long and shaky and looks back down at his drawing. For a moment, he considers stopping. Instead, he turns the page over and keeps drawing.
A very perfect X-Files episode ending.
And I know we kind of rushed into that a little bit, but essentially this ends the way that most X-Files do, with very little evidence that you can really bring to fruition. I mean, you can, you know, explain what it is that you saw, but because your phones basically didn't work, you have no record of Jacob floating in midair, and no real hard evidence other than the autopsy report and the crime scene photos that you were able to take during the time period. But uh, Assistant Director Cortez commends you on your work and says this is just the beginning. The truth is out there, and it's your job to find it.